Welcome into the Boom Bust Dynasty Trade Show, where we will cover your fantasy football trades, your Dynasty fantasy football trades. And today, we got some Dynasty team reviews we're going to be taking a look at. We've got some team reviews in the queue to take a look at today. Currently, the team review queue is sitting at, we got 3 team reviews queued up for today and 7 trades on the block ready to go. Let me make sure I've got chat pulled up. I see people popping in. Let's get the first trade of the night on the screen. This one comes in from Gavin in Nighthawks Baseball. Nighthawks Baseball. My screen went blank. I couldn't remember if I had read baseball or basketball, but it is the Nighthawks Baseball Dynasty League. Let's take a look. It's a 12-team Superflex Start 10 PPR half-point tight end premium. And let me know what you guys are feeling on this one in the chat. We got top team. We got the top team, the bottom team. If you're on Twitch or YouTube, it shows it more spread out. So we've got the left team or the right team. You can call out the player side that you would want to be on. On one side, we've got Malik Willis and a 28 first, or Ladd McConkey and a 28 second. The notes on this one say the 28 first could be mid to late, same as the second. Quarterbacks are Lawrence and Shuck. I mean, we could take a look at it if you have this on the board, if you're watching on Twitch and YouTube, you can see the full team of the person submitting this trade. We've got Gavin's team in this 12-team Superflex. Are we looking to bring in Malik Willis? Like this team would be, do I have this right? Are we looking to send away Ladd
I moved
McConkey?
McCaffrey for Waddle. My receivers are now Waddle,
Let me turn
A.J.
off
Brown,
the...
T. Higgins, BTJ,
So we have a little bit of
RBS.
When we, sorry about that, Gord. When we stream games, we have text-to-speech on. So we'll turn that one off. And I see your message, Kid Code. We'll take a look at that one in just a minute after this trade. So saying quarterbacks are Loveland and Shuck, we would trade away Ladd McConkey and a second to bring in Malik Willis and a 28 first. Some people are able to get a first-round pick for Malik Willis or swap him for a better quarterback. I don't really want to send Ladd McConkey for essentially a first and then send a second for, I mean, on this deal, am I doing this one? There are situations, there are leagues where I'd say like, yeah, okay, let's move Ladd McConkey, bring in Malik Willis and turn this into 2 firsts. If you think you can do that with Malik, go for it. But I don't want to be using Malik Willis. I don't really want to bring him into my team and then have him. So I'm going to say, if it's me, I'm not excited to send Ladd McConkey in a second for Malik in a first. I'm going to stick with Ladd. All right, we've got some messages that have come through. Let's make sure that we don't fall behind on any, like Gord, I moved. This is just a trade, Gord? Looks like Gord's just got a trade. If you're looking to have your trade covered on the show, Gord, I see you're on Twitch. You can check right up here. You could submit your trades for review at boombustfantasy.com to get our thoughts on them. We've got a whole queue that is moving across the top of the screen of trades that we are going to cover for people who have already submitted theirs. And then Kid Code, is there a way to look at my team review if I missed the live? We'll cover this. I think we're going to end up covering this a couple more times. Kid Code, if you submitted your team review and you didn't submit it as a paid team review, like if we did a long stretch of a couple weeks of where we were doing team reviews as a demo process, you could submit that. It did not cost anything. We would pull some up on the live show to work through that process. If you submitted yours during that time, which was before Monday, anything before this past Monday, that has been closed out. So that's been closed out. If you weren't here for it live, you can check the live streams. We do have all of these live streams replayable on YouTube. But if you did not submit it as a paid team review and you weren't here live for it, you can either check to see if we covered it on a live stream. But for the most part, we were covering ones for people who were here. So we were in a series or in a period where we were demoing out the team review process, getting things up and running. And now we are just fully into team reviews are a paid product like they would be anywhere else, which is what we had been saying. So if that's the first time you're hearing that spiel, then we probably didn't do it. Alrighty, we got the next. We do have 3 team reviews in the queue today. We've got one from Zappers 2.0 with Team Sup Now Bruh. We've got one in SAFTB Dynasty, Hot Hands Hanan for the team. So if they are here, we'll switch over to those and go through them. We've got the next trade in the queue coming in. I think this one comes from Coolio. From the TikTok chat. He'll check it out on the replay. It'll pop up on your screen. Here it is. Here we go. ZCG's a 7 in Death of a Dynasty. Now we've covered a couple trades from this team, and it's a pretty solid team. The notes on here say going for it all, 3-peat, got the draft picks, needed proven wide receiver help, which I think from remembering his team, like, yeah, this team does need proven, or this team has a lot of the draft capital to contend. Sorry, turning up down the AC to make it a little bit cooler in here. The trade is sending a lot of future value. Casey Concepcion, a 27 first, a 28 first, a 27 second for Justin Jefferson, Tyler Algier, and a third. This feels like we're paying the full price here for Jefferson. I think we've looked at Coolio's team before. Like, they have 2 future first round picks in 2027. They have 3 future picks in 2028. So if we've made all these moves, we're coming off of back-to-back championships. I see you, Jordan. We'll get to it. I see you, Jordan. So if we're looking at this team, you can see the roster of the team here. If you're on the Twitch or YouTube feeds, we show the full team of the person submitting their league. Looks like they already brought in Justin Jefferson. If I'm reading this right, they've already sent away Casey Concepcion. They brought in Jefferson. I kind of like this deal. We're paying that full price. We're not really getting Jefferson at that cheap compared to the market. I think if he bounces back, there's room for value recovery with Justin Jefferson coming off of last year. So paying Casey Concepcion, who's a first round pick this year, a 27 first, a 28 first, and a 27 second on top, like, that's the full price. Then you get Tyler Algier and a 27 third for that little bit that you're going over the price on Justin Jefferson. I don't really care about that. I'd probably prefer to do this not sending a 27 second and then just not getting Algier in a third, but that's not always available. So how do I feel about this one? For the team that you have, Coolio, not bad, not bad. Bring Jefferson in to contend for you now. You're coming off of a championship, coming off of back-to-back, going for a third. You had all of these picks. From what we've seen on this team, like, it's a very good team, one of the strongest teams in the league. So I don't hate this deal. In a vacuum, I'd say I'm not in love with it specifically, but it's a very small nits to pick. And for the team that you have, it works out. All right, and we've got Jordan here saying he's here for the Zappers Sup Now Bruh team review. Let's take a look at it. We'll switch over to our view for doing Dynasty team reviews. And before we get to this, if you are looking to have your team reviewed, here's how you do it. You just open up our website, boombustfantasy.com. It is right here. It's the same name as if you're watching on YouTube, same name, Boombust Fantasy. If you're watching on TikTok, same name. If you're watching on Twitch, it is just Boombust Jack, my first name. What's up, SK? What's up, SK? Sergeant Killam in the Twitch chat. Let's pull up here's how to get your team submitted. You come to our website. If you have your account, you sign in. If you don't have an account, it is this easy. I'm logged into Gmail. I'm logged into my Gmail on this instance of Google Chrome. You hit get started and it's going to say, do you want to sign in or create your account? These buttons will do the same thing. If you have an account, it'll log you in. If you don't have an account, it'll create one. So I'm going to hit continue with Google. It should just pick up my Gmail. There we go. The account's made. It's a one-click account make. And then you just type in your Sleeper username. And it will right now, when you hit continue, it goes to Sleeper. It pulls every league that you're in on Sleeper. And then all you have to do is just pick, hey, which league do you want to look at first? We've got tabs for my team, my league. So you do have to pick a league, but every league is later selectable. So I'll go with Boombust 6. We did some startups last year, about 9 of them. So I'll pull up number 6. On our site, you can connect to our Discord where you can post your trade to our trade channels, and it will submit that with a link back to your roster, your league scoring, so that you don't have to type out all of this context that you see when people ask for help in Dynasty. I've got these players, I've got these picks, I'm contending, this guy isn't. It just sends a link to all of that with your league scoring, so you don't have to type out all the context. For the demo, we skip it. If you want to submit your team for review, and we're about to do a team review for Jordan, you just come to Team Advice. On the profile section up here in the top right, you pick which league you want to do it for. You pick which league, like we were saying, you want to show. Here, we just set it to Boombus 7. You go to My Team. There it is, Boombus 7. Then you go to Team Advice. You'll need a team credit, and then you hit Request Team Review right here on the button, and that's going to add you in to the queue. We've already got some in the queue. We'll go through some tonight. We'll pull up Jordan's team. It might take me just a moment to get that up on the screen. We'll start the review process. SK, yeah, we are in a league called the fucking Catalina Wine Mixer. That is a random one that I found on Sleeper, just in the app last offseason. Looks like we just got one in from Donovan, the Twin Bowers League. Is Donovan here? We're doing Jordans right now, but we had 3 in the queue when we started. We're up to 4. We'll open up this one and let's take a look at it. Here is how our team reviews go. Let me get it up on the screen. Let's take a look. 12:35, 12:40 is the start. We've got this one for Jordan in Zappers 2.0. Let's put it on the screen. It shows up. We looked at one team in Zappers last week. We've got one here for Sup Now Brah. It's a 12-team, 1 quarterback, 6 point per passing touchdown, which does kind of matter for someone like Dak Prescott. Start 9, PPR, no tight end premium in this league. And we've got Sup Now Brah. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the team position by position, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and draft picks, and we'll give a rating, 0 through 4, a 4-star rating, but you can have 0. We'll go through that and we'll take a look at each position. We'll talk about, hey, where you're strong, where you're weak, what we see for your team in the next few years, in the next 3 years. We'll say, do we expect you to contend and then a 2-year rebuild, or contend? We'll take a look at what your team is going to be like in the next couple of years. And then we'll talk through some trades or some general concepts that I would do if this were my team. We'll start with the quarterbacks on Sup Now Brah, who in a 1 quarterback league has Dak Prescott and Jared Goff, and that's feeling like a 2. When we give these ratings, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're looking at perceived production or projected production for 2026, the next year, as well as tradability. How much value do you have? How much production do you have? And how much value do you have? If we're at running backs and you have Derrick Henry, he's not that tradable, but he is going to give you pretty good production in this year, but we don't know how many years we have left. So when we're looking at your quarterbacks, we're going to say, we'll call it about a 2. And it is somewhat because these guys are getting up into the later portion of their career. Dak Prescott in his mid to low 30s. Same with Jared Goff. You have enough guys to fill out a roster to start with your league. And if you have Dak Prescott and he's playing and he's healthy, you have a top 12 quarterback in this 1 QB league. It's not going to be what wins you weeks, but it's definitely not projected to be what loses you weeks. Now, when we're looking at running backs, I should start writing that down. We're looking at running backs. You've got Scatabo, Derrick Henry, Tyler Algier, and this is like a week or two to a 1. Like, we have production, so we'll probably give it a 2 just on the projected production here from Derrick Henry and Scatabo of 2 running backs. Nothing really behind it. Not really consistent, locked in future value either with Derrick Henry. So we're gonna say it's a pretty weak 2. Like, it's good enough to go for you this year, but this could be a spot where we look to make changes going into next year. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Emeka Egbuka, Hollywood Brown. Okay. It's not looking amazing. Hollywood Brown on Philadelphia this year. I probably don't know that we're going to see a major role for him there. And then we're really just looking at 2 guys that we trust to start. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Emeka Egbuka. That's it. And that's it. So we have some value with Amon-Ra and Emeka Egbuka and potential future value with these guys. So we'll call it A very, very weak 2 to almost a 1 at wide receiver. And then tight ends, Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Travis Kelce, tons of production here. We don't have a tight end premium in this league, but Tyler Warren has a lot of future value. He's one of the most highly thought of tight ends in Dynasty right now. We expect to get good production from Tucker Kraft and a bounce back year. And then really, Travis Kelce is a piece that is probably still going to be a top 12 tight end this year in terms of producing. How much longer is he playing in the league? 1 to 2 more years, maybe. So not a lot. When we look at, so did we give this a rating? We'll probably call this a 3. A really, really good 3. For your future draft picks, no first round pick this year. Now, you guys haven't done your draft yet, from what I can tell. No first round pick in 2027. You have someone else's first round pick. And when we looked at it with TD's, a team that we looked at last week, probably a pretty good team for a 2028 first and a 2028 second. So we're not seeing much future coming for you in the next year or two. When we look at it with our lineup power, what we have up here is a projection based on your league's scoring of, hey, how are these teams going to do? We got CD's, a team that we looked at last week, and then your team here in the middle. Like, of the top of the 12, like, you're in the mix. There's a lot of teams here that are going to be that teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 in your playoffs making the cut. So there's definitely a shot you can make the cut with your scoring for your future value near the bottom. So what we're looking at here is probably contending this year and then retooling and rebuilding. So contending and then probably retooling to maybe going into a second year of retooling before you're really back contending, because we're not adding in any 2027 firsts next year. So when we replace someone like Derrick Henry, there's not a clear replacement coming in. If we build out your top 9, we're looking at Dak Prescott, Scatabo, Henry, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ibuka, Tyler Warren. Then we're looking at 7 and 8 of Algier, Hollywood Brown, a rookie that you take in the second round, or Tucker Kraft. When we're looking at this, I was leaning towards contending. This might just be like a retooling thing. We're seeing in the chat from Colton, look at the James Cook trade he did. James Cook for Tyler Algier, a 27 second, a 28 first, second, and the 207 this year. And that one's going to CDs. I feel like Colton, you just want me to hype you up on that one. And Jordan saying, maybe would it be best maybe this year to sell for picks? Not like that. So, okay, this deal happened on May 11th. Would it be best to sell for picks this year? Yes and no. So we've talked about kind of how to do rebuilding trades. When we look at with a deal like this, where you sent away James Cook for a first, 3 seconds, and Algier, that's not a horrible price. What I would have rather have seen this team do, I mean, you brought in Algier, would have been trade James Cook and Travis Kelce, an aging piece on this team, to get you across from the trade value for James Cook of like a first and more up over 2 firsts. So we say James Cook could get you 2 firsts, and then in a start 9, he's very, very close. And then Travis Kelce would be the difference maker, and you're getting paid out on Travis Kelce, and then you get up to 2 firsts. Trading James Cook for a deal involving 3 seconds and Tyler Algier, this is one of those deals that feels like when you look at it on a trade calculator, it might light up and say, oh my gosh, so many second round picks and Tyler Algier, this side is looking pretty good. That's kind of why I don't recommend using a trade calculator. You want to build out, like if you're moving the best player in a deal and you're rebuilding, I don't want a bunch of seconds unless I know that I can then take those seconds and roll them up with other things to get younger at other positions or trade for veterans. When I'm in a rebuild, people say like get younger and get picks. I don't really like getting seconds and thirds because the rate that they miss is really high. And when they miss, they don't retain value. If you miss on a player that you take with your first round pick, like Rome Odunze was taken with a first round pick. He has not hit in 2 years. Marvin Harrison in the same draft. They've both been disappointing in terms of production. They still hold their value because they were early to mid first round picks. Second round picks don't hold their value in that same way. Obviously, it would be a relative way, first round versus second round. But when we're looking at Roma Dunze and Marv, who haven't hit in 2 years, you could still get a first for them because you drafted them with a first. Players that you draft with seconds, if they don't hit in that first year, you're not getting a second back for them. You're maybe getting a third. So with all of these second round picks, I want to be taking them and doing the type of deal that you got, or that you made, packaging up those seconds and bringing in a veteran to contend with, or pairing seconds with some veteran pieces on your team to get younger. So if we're just going to set this up for a 3-year outlook, I might say with, hey, Derrick Henry and Travis Kelce, can we get up to a 28 first? You could probably get a 28 first for Derrick Henry and start this process of moving through it. He did draft Scat mid second round last year. We're not saying second round picks don't hit ever. We're saying we drafted Scat and then someone probably right after that drafted Jack Bash. Scatabo was a hit. Jack Bash barely gets you anything right now. That's kind of the comparison. Sometimes we get a hit with our second round picks, but when we miss, it just goes away. So when I'm doing a rebuild, I try to find things that are going to go up in value and be sure value or closer to sure value. There's no sure value here. So just looking at for the next 3 years, like, yeah, if you want to tear some of this down in this year, we'd be looking to move on from Derrick Henry. And if no one's paying you full price for Derrick Henry or full price for Travis Kelce or full price for Tucker Kraft, that's when we say, I guess we might need to pair these things with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if you looked at doing a deal of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Derrick Henry, can you come away with, send 2 things away and come back with 2 younger, more promising assets to start getting value rising? Like Derrick Henry's not going to go up in value this year, but a trade of sending Derrick Henry away and Amon-Ra St. Brown away could come back with 2 things that would be going up in value. And if no one's paying you for Henry, that's kind of the way you need to do it. And that's kind of what I mean with that James Cook trade. We sent away James Cook and we brought in a bunch of seconds that like probably go up a little bit in value, but we missed out on the opportunity to pair some of these older assets with those seconds. So we'll take a look at that and we'll say you could contend this year, but it might just be better off to retool, see if you can get to 27 firsts, and then look at being a 27 or a 28 as a target year to contend, because we just don't have many firsts or seconds in 2027. We might wind up with a much deeper draft class in 27 where you have a very early first there and it ends up being someone more valuable. Like 2 years ago, or last offseason, we were taking Jackson Dart in the second round, and he's now has a lot of value because he was a first round quarterback. This year, even early second round picks, not nearly comparable. So we'll send out an email with kind of covering that, a link back to this timestamp in the video, and then more of a snapshot of where your team is with kind of everything we said put onto the screen so that you can come back to it again later. We'll move on to the next one. Let's see, what, Keller, where do you get a team grading? On our website, boombustfantasy.com. If you're on the TikTok, it would be, right here. Submit your team for review at boombustfantasy.com. That's where that one is. Jordan, if you really wanted to go for it this year, I do tell people, hey, if your team is likely to make the playoffs, you can try for it. It does kind of become a crapshoot once you get into the playoffs, but we do have some aging assets that are just not going up in value anymore. Dak Prescott was good last year. We're not seeing value rising with him because he's getting older. Similar things with Jared Goff and Derrick Henry and Travis Kelce. Camden, what does it cost for a team review? They're $21.99. $21.99 on our website, boombustfantasy.com. You can check them. Oh, I didn't mean to throw up the bird. We'll hit it with the index right there. So we'll leave that page there. Go back to this view. Let's take a look at we got a couple trades in the queue as well. If you just want to submit trade questions, we've got those as well. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything on the chats here. Like Nate saying, who's first overall this year for starting a sleeper? I'm not sure what that means. Like first overall in the draft for starting a sleeper? I don't know what that means. Oh, starting a dynasty league on sleeper? Probably Josh Allen. I would say Josh Allen over someone like Drake May, or even, I don't know who else is up in that top 3. I would go with Josh Allen. And Jordan saying, I was thinking maybe for the big 27 draft class, but yeah, thanks for the advice and tips. So for your league, Jordan, the trick or the thing to keep in mind is, we don't know how great the draft class will be for a 1 quarterback league. Going into 2027, the hype on the draft and the value of the picks for people is because there's a lot of quarterbacks projected to come out. There's a couple great wide receivers as well, but it's not a massively deep running back class like we had last year with Genty, Hampton, Judkins, Trevion Henderson, even someone like Cam Scatabo in the 4th round returning a lot of value. And I'm sure I've forgotten some names in there. It was a very deep running back class and actually pretty good at wide receiver too. When we're looking at the 2027 draft class, it's a lot of quarterbacks. This year it was just Mendoza, who doesn't have a lot of value in a 1 quarterback league. Last year it was Cam Ward. That's flipping for next year, where we're expecting to get a lot of quarterbacks. But if you're in a 1 quarterback league, those things just don't hold as much value. So 27 firsts aren't as valuable in a league like that. Dan Graham saying, hey, what is going on? Keller, where do you get the Keller saying, I think I saw someone from Keller, you got the team credit, how you spend it? Go to, should be right. Let's pull up this browser. We have multiple browsers for showing things right here on the team advice page. On team advice, it works. It's easiest on a desktop machine. We should have cleaned up a lot of the issues with viewing things on mobile. We've deployed another update today that should have cleaned up a lot of the issues that we were having on mobile, but it's just right here, request team review. It's right there. What, Keller? If you're on a phone, it would look like that. And then you would click right here to get to it. It wouldn't be on the top. Let's cover some of these trades. We've been talking. We've got one from, I think we already looked at this one. Let's refresh this queue here. Josh River asking a trade question on TikTok chat. Put it on the, we are only taking questions from the site, Josh. Okay, here comes one. The next one from Coolio, who submitted this last week. I don't see Coolio in here, but he can check these out on the YouTube replay. It's a 12-team Superflex start 10. Are we sending? Now, there's no tight end premium in this league, which is going to come into play. Are we sending Brock Bowers, a 28 first, a 27 second, third, and fourth for Ashton Genty? Looking at this, the notes on here say, I like Ashton Genty, but to get tight end number 1 and draft capital, I had to do it. Even if I don't have plenty of running back help, I wouldn't have, or even if I didn't have plenty of running back help, I wouldn't have made the trade. For the Coolio team, let's take a look at the team. I think they sent away. Yeah, they now have Brock Bowers. Man, I like this trade. I like this trade. I like the Bowers side of this deal. There's no tight end premium, which is going to affect it. But there are times where we say, I don't really care what players you have. I mean, you can look at Coolio's team. It's also just pretty stacked in this league. He sent away Ashton Genty, brought in Bowers and multiple future picks. I think it's just such a value win on this deal. Genty's a great player, but so's Bowers. And really, if you're getting that it's really the 28 first on there that I really like. And then you're getting a second, third, and fourth next year. Or it's a second and a third in 2027 and a fourth in 2029. I don't really care that much about the 29 fourth. I don't know how it got added on in this deal. I wouldn't have needed it. People are going to like 27 seconds during this year. You'll be able to trade them for veteran help. 28 first is really just only going to go up in value. And Brock Bowers isn't really losing value anytime soon. Coming off of a down year, I think, unless he's really stinking this year, I would expect to be pretty good with Brock Bowers. You paid a lot to get it, but I like the Bowers side. I like the value move. This is one of those deals where even if Ashton Genty was your only running back, you would still do the deal to bring in Bowers the first, second, third, and fourth across different years, because then you could trade those things and even trade away Bowers, who you brought in, to get back to a better position. All right, we'll go through this next trade from BF Lewis, Sattown Dynasty. This is, okay, it's a 12-team Superflex start 10. There's full point per reception. No tight end premium in this one. This is, I've had this same deal proposed to me. Are we sending Jackson Dart for Tet McMillan? Keller, I see you in just a minute. We'll get you sorted, Keller. Are we doing this deal? So Jackson Dart or Tet McMillan? I've had this one sent to me where I would be sending away Dart for McMillan, and I have not accepted it. I haven't accepted it, and it's really, really close. The notes here listing my other quarterbacks looking to compete. Reading the notes, we have the roster of the team that submitted this trade on the screen. They already have Brock Purdy. They have Cam Ward. I think they can contend with those things. Are we sending away Tet McMillan to swap over to Jackson Dart for this team? I think we can. On a team where I have Jackson Dart, I haven't flipped him for Tet McMillan. I have this same thing in my inbox. My thought process is if we get 2-3 weeks into the season and we see a good move and we see good production from Jackson Dart, his value is going to go up. There's a clear path for value rise early in the season that I don't know exists for Tet McMillan. Like if Jackson Dart is looking good, people are going to buy in. If Tet McMillan looks fine, I think there's still going to be a lot of people saying, but Bryce Young stinks. Unless Bryce Young looks amazing in the first month of the season. That's my thought process on this one, Colton, where you're opening like Tet McMillan and Jackson Dart, both good young players. I see a little bit more value upside with Dart. With a team that has Purdy and Cam Ward, if we're bringing in Dart, I probably want to then move on from Cam Ward or Brock Purdy. We're just opening ourselves up to a slight value gain or more opportunity for a value gain. That's the way I see it, but that is just all made up in my mind. So I'm gonna call it even with a very slight edge to Dart. Let's see, Colton saying, I like Dart over Young, so it makes sense for sure. It's really just the Bryce Young holding back Tet McMillan, both in terms of real production and perceived production from the Dynasty community, where if Tet McMillan doesn't look great in the first couple weeks of the season, people will say, well, Bryce Young is holding him back and Tet isn't really going to become great. And I see more of a path for Jackson Dart to go up in value. It's really, really close. Really, really close. I'm going to mark this one as even and say you would need to move on from another quarterback. I'm in a league where someone really wants Cam Ward from me. If someone is going to take Cam Ward off of this team or Brock Purdy at a higher price, like I think this could be a move that sets off a nice sequence of trades to come away with a stronger team. All right, let's refresh the queue, see where we're at. We do see some trades coming through. We see, I think Keller put his team credit through as well. So let's go through some of these team reviews. Okay, they are coming through. It looks like any issues with the site have been cleaned up. It looks like all these have been cleaned up. Let's go with, is Matt Ryan here? If Matt Ryan is here, we'll jump right to him. We've got a queue from Matt. Keller, what's the Twitch? It's Boom Bust Jack. It should say it on the TikTok profile. Otherwise, the YouTube is the same name as on TikTok. Nick Young saying, what website are you using for reviewing these trades? It's right here. Boombustfantasy.com. It's my own site. Same name as the TikTok. That's what builds the overlays for the TikTok live, as well as the ones on Twitch and YouTube that show the full team of the person who submitted the question. We just think it's a better way for covering team advice, where I can actually see your team rather than just a minute. Rather than just typing in, hey, my team's a rebuilder and I just have to take your word for it, we can see it. And then said, what happened? You and Doc thought you were lads. I don't know who Doc is. Talk to me, Nick. I don't know who Doc is. Unless I'm just going dumb. Oh, DPC Stan? I'd say we're still buds. As far as I know, we're still buds. As far as I know, we're still lads. And Colton asking, do you know any way I can link my chat GPT to our league for weekly recaps so it has access to live updates? I know how I could build it, but I don't know of any sites that do that to you. Nick Young, we haven't seen any collabs since last year. No, I've just been very busy doing this, as well as we've been streaming games during the day. Let's go to, I haven't heard from a Matt Ryan in the chat. Was Hot Hands Hanan here? We'll go with some of these ones that were submitted earlier today. POA Ammo, this is what Keller, you finally found the Twitch. What is going on? Otherwise, we'll go with, maybe we'll go with Donovan Moe, because that one came through right at the start of the show. Owen Brown, you're waiting. Oh, Beezy. POA, thank you for the follow. Okay, we'll get right through these. What is the noise we just got? Owen Brown with the follow on TikTok as well. So we'll go with these kind of in the order that they came through. I'm realizing it's probably a bit too much to be checking in that everyone's here. Oh, BZ, you're right in the queue as well. It won't be long. But SAFTB, this one came in sooner. So we'll get this one going. Let me grab a timestamp for this. 38:15. Let's throw this one up here. We've got a team review for, I don't know how I would say this name. It's just some emojis. I don't know how I would say this name. In a 10-team Superflex, start 9, PPR tight end premium. How are we feeling on this team? We'll go through it position by position. We'll give ratings 0 through 4 stars in terms of production for this year, as well as trade value. And then we'll talk through, hey, how is this team looking for the next couple years? Are you contending this year, rebuilding this year? We'll start to figure that out. And then we'll come up with some marching orders of what I would do if this were my team. And then in the future, you'll get a follow-up email with some trade ideas attached to it. We may have talked through some of the trade ideas on the stream here. I haven't looked at the team yet. We will, and we'll see if any team trade ideas jump out to me. Otherwise, I attach a couple of them in the follow-up email. The follow-up email will give you a link back to a web page showing the snapshot of your team when the team was reviewed, as well as a link to the video with all of this and so on. And then those trades and those marching orders that we'll talk through. Kind of a summary, a text summary of what I'm about to say. Going through here with this team, quarterbacks, we got Jackson Dart, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold. Like probably the most solid 3. Dart could be a stud or could be really good with his rushing. Trevor Lawrence looked really good last year. We could have 2 top 12 quarterbacks and then Sam Darnold as a 3rd in a Superflex league. It's only we're only starting 20 quarterbacks each week in a 10-team Superflex rather than a 12, but we're feeling pretty good about this team. This is a very, very solid, 3. We don't have stud. There's no Drake May on this team. There's no Josh Allen. There's no even a Jaden Daniels on here. But we could be there with Dart. He just hasn't proven it yet. And then Trevor Lawrence, I think he finished as QB5 last year. We've seen him go up and down in terms of value and in terms of production, but he's coming off of a great year. We have a lot of tradable value here and a lot of perceived production. So this could be a spot where we might end up down tiering to an older veteran between one of these guys if we feel like we need to. At running backs, we got Jonathan Taylor, Quinshon Judkins, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowdle. This is getting into that really, really strong, almost like a week or 4 range. Young, solid production with Judkins, and then Barkley and Jonathan Taylor to round it out with really good veterans on top. And then on top of all of that, Another solid veteran with, I don't know why saying the word veteran was so tough for me there. Another solid veteran with DeAndre Swift, who's probably going to put up RB2 numbers. Now, when I say RB2, I mean in a 12-team league. So in a 10-team league, we're going to be looking at like running back 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 for Swift. So maybe a flex in a league like this. I'm writing down some of these so that I can send this stuff out in the email tomorrow. And wide receivers, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, we're looking good. I have not, you guys have seen these. I am reading left to right across of these. This is really good. We got Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Ted McMillan, Mekhi Lemon, who I really like. Romeo Doubs could start some weeks for you this year. Could be in a flex 1 or 2 times for you, but this is really solid. 2 of the best wide receivers in Dynasty. Ted McMillan, great young piece. Mekhi Lemon, I really like, probably a little bit more than the market does. Great young receiver going to a team that has a track record of offensive success at wide receiver. So this is a 4. Like, we're looking good. Tight ends, Isaiah Likely, Dalton Kincaid. I'm feeling like a week or 2. It's not going to cost you your league. I don't know how many I know there's some hype around Isaiah Likely. He's tight end 12. Going to the Giants, gets a decent money contract to follow his former head coach to the Giants. I don't know how many examples of tight ends there are that really take a big step forward in what is he in? Like year 5 or 6? There's not that long of a track record of there's not that many cases of the situation that people want to have happen with Isaiah Likely that have actually happened. What's a better way to say that? The Likely lovers, in my mind, are believing in something that rarely happens. So if we're able to move on, maybe you're a Likely lover. I'm not sure. But we'll probably get usable production between Likely, Kincaid, AJ Barner, Chigakonkwo. We're hoping. But I'm going to call this like a week or 2. There's a lot of options here. There's good tradability. There's good flexibility. We don't need, it's a half-point tight end premium. Like Likely could be a higher target guy. We have seen him do that. Dalton Kincaid, when he's playing and healthy, gives you usable numbers. We could piece together a tight end here. And then future draft picks, no first-round pick in 2027. Give an extra 3rd. Not something I'm writing home about. I'm not going to write home to my parents about that one. 2028, you have your first. 2029, you have your first. Like, you're looking okay. We haven't built up anything. We're just going to call it like a flat 2. We've spent a first, and I feel like we do see that across your lineup in production. If you look at the power of your lineup for this year, you're projected to be one of the top scoring teams week in, week out. On our site, it looks at your league's scoring, 10 teams, start 9 guys, super flex, and it puts together a lineup projection of your team and who's going to score the most points. And you're week in, week out expected to be one of the top teams. Now, I will always add in the disclaimer. Fantasy's fun because we don't know what's going to happen. Fantasy's fun because we make our projections at the start of the season and then they go wrong. And we pivot and we make trades and we move around that. Going into the season, I'd say feel good about making the playoffs and contending this year. For the next year, it's possible Jonathan Taylor takes a step back. It's possible Saquon Barkley takes a step back. It's possible DeAndre Swift takes a step back, leaving the Bears, and then we don't know where he's going to sign. You don't have a 27 first to replace the strength that you have in production at running back. But I don't know that it's enough to really knock you out from contending, because everywhere else across your team, we're looking pretty young and ready to go. So this feels like contending strongly this year and then still contending next year. In 2027, we're not adding a first round pick, but then 2028, you've got your pick to start re-bolstering and still contending. Now, it's not just that you have your pick to make it, it's you have your pick to do things with it. You don't have a 27 first to sell high with. People are really excited about those things, and that's already gone. Now, we do see that in the projected lineup, projected scoring. It's just that we don't like you'll take a dip. Your team will stagnate for a year and get worse with players like Jonathan Taylor getting older, players like Saquon Barkley getting older. Now it's possible Jonathan Taylor just continues to produce like Saquon has been. There was a while where running backs had their last good year at around age 27, but that's not been the case with Derrick Henry. That's not been the case with Saquon Barkley, and each person is an individual. So we don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor, but it wouldn't surprise me if his value started coming down, that we're at the top end of his value. So if we're looking for moves that we could make with this team that's contending for a while, I might explore some options of, hey, you have these seconds and thirds next year. We're not adding in studs. We don't need to hit a home run with this second next year. Like, we don't need to win the lotto with it. Think of it as a lotto pick. You don't need to win the lotto with it. If you can find a move that lets you send a second round pick with Jonathan Taylor to just get younger at running back, I might take a look and see what's going on with that. Or moving with Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, but you have that production. So I think this contending roster for the next couple years, we're not seeing anything coming in next year. We're kind of just restating that. And then you have enough pieces to get younger before you need to, before you start losing players to just retiring. If we're looking at other things you could do with those picks, I like to look at the teams that we don't project to score a lot of points and who's on their team that you could go get. We don't need, I'd say, like, you could go get David Montgomery, a nice aging running back that's probably going to be really cheap that could perform for you. Your team just doesn't really need that. This may be a piece that if you found you could get it from Mr. Steal Your League, like you could then make a deal to move on from someone else. Like if bringing in David Montgomery at a lower projected production level allows you to trade Saquon and get really good value for Saquon, and then take that value and flip it somewhere else to get more production, I would consider things like that with Mr. Steal Your League. Same thing with Beeve Coons. Let's take a, I don't feel great about what I just said, but let's take a look at what they've got. Nothing amazing to really, to attack here. And I don't know that you need to with this team. The only thing we might look at is Mr. Steal Your League. Like, could you get Travis Kelce for a couple of those thirds you have to just really lock down? I think Kelce was still, I don't want to get the wrong number. Chat, can someone confirm in PPR scoring, what was Travis Kelce's finish last year? Because I don't think it's going to get that much worse. I think he was tight end 5 or 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, definitely still within that range. And if we're looking at one of the weaker teams, could you get that? POA Ammo saying I think it was top 5. Trinity said 3. It's definitely in that range. Like Cam DeSilva saying tight end 3. Like, this is one of the weaker teams, probably missing the playoffs, would look for future picks. I'd say take a look at something like that. And then I don't remember if this manager was in the chat. I keep looking like I'm talking to them, but I don't recall that I've seen them responding. So we'll close that one up and we'll send out an email tomorrow with kind of a summary of those thoughts with a couple extra trades that come to mind. And we do have a couple more in the queue. We've got trades coming through the queue as well. Let's go to Hot Hands Hanan, who I saw was here. And then Mo, I think yours is the next one in the queue. We'll add something in. We'll switch to this view that has the trade queue so that people can see about where their trades are at. We'll go through a couple trade questions right now. And we'll add something in to show, what a Baskella. We'll add something in to show where we are in the team review queue as well. But I can't add it on the show while we're live. We've got 8 trades currently in the queue. Let's try to bring that down, then we'll jump right back to team reviews. We'll still be here for a while. We've been going for 50 minutes. I think on Monday we went 3 hours, and if we need to, we'll keep going. Let me not forget before I throw a trade on the screen to check in with the chat. Tipsy, how did he get that team? Probably just trades. I've made some bad trades. Jonathan Taylor did have a value dip last year, so could have grabbed him then. Cam DeSilva submitted a team review a few weeks ago. So we'll cover Cam. If it was submitted a few weeks ago and it did not get covered, We were in a long demo period. Team reviews are anywhere you go on the line or anywhere you go online, they are a paid product and they're not typically cheap. So what we were saying for the past couple of weeks was we will do team reviews for people as they are live, but we will be switching to a paid product. And that is where we're at now. So anything that in the queue of team reviews that we have, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 that we haven't gotten to yet. We will get to today. That's a paid product thing that we will get to today. If your team was not covered in there, like if you are not Bush League Dynasty, the League of Extraordinary Genitals from Don, if you're not Owen Brown or POA Ammo who's in the chat, then it's not in the queue. Anything that was marked as completed will stay as completed, and I'll send out an email this weekend going over that. RTS Lightning computer. Trade Geno Smith for Patrick Mahomes. Computer. Make my team better. Fastest way possible. Most money spent. Greasy K, favorite content creator by far. Spelling it with a K. Spelling with Ks. Oh, also Greasy K, spelling words with a K. Favorite content creator by far. Thank you very much. Keep grinding. We will. We will. Colton saying facts. Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. Got a couple of the regulars from our daily gaming streaming. Tony Montana, want to see the greatest Dynasty team you've ever seen? If it's a team review. If it's a team review, and then I'm not seeing anything from the chat that we really missed. Let's cover some of these trades. We've got trades that came in yesterday, and then a couple trades that have come through on the show. So let's do 5 trades. Why am I holding up 4? 5 trades pretty quick, and then we'll jump to the next team that we've got in the team review queue. From WS Pink in Slumptown Dynasty. I feel like, am I really? No, that's not bad. That's not bad. My face fits on the TikTok feed. In Slumptown Dynasty, it's a 10-team super flex, 5-point passing touchdown. That's a ooh la la. Fancy league. 10 teams start 10, full peeper, full PPR, no tight end premium. How are we feeling on this deal? Okay, I think I'm feeling this one pretty quickly. I feel like I'm feeling this one pretty quickly. Guys, let me know in the chat where you're going with this one. We got Justin Jefferson and Eli Stowers, unsure of how to say it, or Jordan Tyson and Bucky Irving. Now, I'm someone who likes Jordan Tyson. I've been saying, go get Jordan Tyson. He's pretty cheap. Don't go get him like this. Don't go get him like this. This is not cheap. This side, so this WS Pink, the manager who submitted this league, they have the Justin Jefferson side. At least they did on the day they submitted this. We're seeing a couple messages coming through. Like user 923 J Jetta side easily. I'm Murdoch Jefferson side easily. Guys, we do really encourage putting your grades of the trades in the chat, which does help the people on the live video replays. I'm also going with the Jefferson side here. Just the current, for this one, there's not a ton to look into with like projected production. We like Jordan Tyson, but Justin Jefferson coming back with just a better quarterback. Eli Stowers is a more highly thought of asset in Dynasty. There's no tight end premium here, but even if you just wanted to trade Eli Stowers in a different trade, I think you could just get way more. This is one of those trades that if you were to click accept, your league chat will have someone in it saying, I would have given you more, which is one of the key signs of a bad trade. So I'm sticking with Justin Jefferson on this one. It's not particularly close to me either. I do really like Jordan Tyson and Bucky Irving. Like, I do want to say that. I'm high on both of these guys compared to the market, but just market rate, this is not close. This is the Jefferson side. That was one. We got Beezer, and then I saw one from Matt. We will get to Matt in just a minute. Beezer from FANS in a 10-team, 1 quarterback start 9. We're starting 90 players a week and only 1 quarterback per team. So only 10 quarterbacks really are going to hold value. I'm now saying there are no quarterbacks in that league. But when we say only 10 quarterbacks each week are giving you value, and then you add like bye weeks and a couple of things past that to get maybe 12 or 14 quarterbacks hold value, all that value just goes to these other guys. All these other position players. Are we sending Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown for Justin Jefferson, Woody Marks, a first, and Michael Wilson, a 27 projected mid first? Are we doing it? The way that I go with this one is Malik Neighbors and Justin Jefferson are not that far off in value. Let me know where you guys are feeling on this one, because I think we were just looking at a trade, but we were saying we want the Jefferson side. I'm going with the Neighbors side. POA Ammo saying it's about even. I think if you punch this one in on some sort of trade calculator, it's gonna say even. What's up, Dewdrop? Saying sports, have a good stream. Thank you, Dewey, for popping in. We won't see you tomorrow, Dewey. We won't see you tomorrow. This one might say that it's about even. I think I'm just sticking with the Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown side. The notes here say I'm hesitant to do this trade. I think the 2027 offers a lot of value. You have Tate and Puka on the team as a contender. We can see the team right here. If you guys are submitting your trade questions, you don't have to say who's on your team. We can just look right at it. We just pull it right up. It's right here. If you're on the TikTok feed, there's not enough space on a phone to put all of this. But on Twitch and on YouTube, we just pull up the whole roster of a team. You don't have to type in who's on this team. We've got Puka, Malik Neighbors, Carnell Tate. We would be moving on from AJ Brown to go to a 20, and swapping Malik Neighbors for a first. I think if you wanted a 2027 first for AJ Brown, you could just get that anywhere. And especially in this league where it's 10 teams start 9, you could probably get a 27 first and more for AJ Brown. Maybe you really like Michael Wilson. This feels like you could probably just get a 27 first in Wilson, or a 27 first in something you like more than Wilson for AJ Brown. If it's me, it feels really close. It is really close. I'm going to lean towards the Neighbor side. It's not a crazy one if you do it. I just, like, when we're looking at trade calculators for sending Malik Neighbors, I don't care about what he marks on the other side. So I kind of will just cross him out and not even include it if I'm typing this into a calculator to track market values. Throwing in what he marks is kind of just like that cheat code to get a trade to go through. I just don't care about him that much in this deal. I'm going to say I personally would stick with the Neighbors side. And if we wanted to make a deal with AJ Brown to get a 27 first, you can make a better deal. That was 2 trades. Who did we see? It was Matt. Matt said, did I get to you? Says submitted May 25th and says complete for team review. Matt, any team reviews submitted before Monday was during our team review demo phase. There were banners all over the site saying we were in a testing mode, a beta mode. Things would break. And things did break. And we're moving forward. All of the reviews that are marked as completed, if you were not there for it on a team review, that demo period has wrapped up and we've moved to a paid team review time. So I didn't want to take the hundreds of team reviews that came through. Hundreds is I didn't want to take the team reviews that came through and say, well, now we're going to turn these that we're charging money for. Now it's just free because you asked early. It's not a great marketing way to describe what we're doing, but that's basically what's going on here. If you had a team review before, we did multiple weeks of them on our shows where we were covering them for people who were here. And we'll send out an email explaining that for anyone who has a team review marked as completed during the demo period, which would be Matt's, as among others. That was 2 trades. We said we would cover 5 before jumping into the team reviews that we have in the queue. Here from Danny Colt. Do we have a lot of people from Zappers 2.0? In this deal, it's a 12-team, 1 quarterback. We've looked at a league in this team. We looked at a league in we had, am I blanking on the name? Because I'm talking a lot. Sup now, brah. We already pulled up and looked at this league, but this is not one of those teams. It's another team in here. It's the same guy you did on Monday. This is Colton. Oh, Colt. Your name is Danny Colt, and then yeah. Sorry. On the stream, on the Twitch and YouTube, we can see you're the team name. I remember CDs, TDs. Okay, Colton, what are we doing here? We got Joe Burrow, Hampton, Juwan Johnson. Oh, you're looking to move. Oh, yeah. Okay. You would potentially, here's the trade. Okay, I'm getting caught up. I looked at this team earlier today. Danny Colt has Daniel Jones and a bunch of quarterbacks that, yeah, we feel okay. Like, we can make quarterbacks. I think I submitted a trade involving Hampton and Gibbs on the team review. Danny, are we moving Jahmyr Gibbs down tiering to Amari and Hampton, sending away Daniel Jones? That doesn't really bother me. This is a 1 quarterback league. And then AJ Barner for Juwan Johnson. Like, Yeah, I like the Joe Burrow side. I don't remember the exact thing that I put in on the team review today, Colton. Like I put in a trade basically just like this. The swap of AJ Barner for Jawan Johnson doesn't change things a ton for me. Let me pull this up and I'll throw it up on the stream. Because I think I said go target Hampton, and did I put Joe Burrow on there? Was this related to, Colton, was this related to one of the ones that I put on here? I submitted, okay, this is exactly what I had submitted. Here we go. Well, with with the tight end swap on top, which doesn't change things for me. Where is it? I want this one. Here's the team review follow-up that if you submit your team for review, you do get this link sent back to you with the snapshot of your team when we went through it, a link to the video when we went over it, and then some suggested trades. I specifically said like, hey, Jahmyr Gibbs, you could down tier to Hampton and pick up Joe Burrow on there. Colton, in the email, you haven't seen it? It should have gone to the email that you used on the site. I'll double check on that, but it should have gone through. I sent that one today. I mean, here's yeah, check your email. And then if you need to reach out to me, there's it's Jack at, I think it's, yeah, what's it from? I'll check it now. Let me double check. It should be, I think it's Jack at bruzco.com, BRUZCO, the name on the TikTok. But this link has been sent out to you, and this is the exact trade I submitted as an example. So I thought you were just the one that we have here of Joe Burrow and Hampton for Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know that you need to include Daniel Jones on here, but it's a one quarterback league. So, and you have so many quarterbacks like Daniel Jones, that would be fine for me. That would be fine for me. Caleb, how are you doing? Thanks for popping in, Caleb. I see your message. Thank you, Caleb. So I think this is fine. It's very close to what I would put on here. Let me make sure that we're swapped over to the trades, and then I need to look at this browser to go through it. The hype on AJ Barner versus Jawan Johnson would not stop me from doing something like this. I think the trade as submitted here, you're sending out more value than what I had posted, but it's all really small things that aren't going to necessarily hurt you. And just getting Joe Burrow for the team that you have, like, it's a stud team. I think this is a fine deal to make. I'm going to mark it as even and say, I think it's a good move. It's a good way to go. It's one of the things that we talked about on Monday with that squad. Was that 3 or 4 on the trades that we said we'd cover before jumping into a team review? We'll say it was 3, and then this is 4. Colton saying Jones and Gibbs for Burrow and Hampton. I didn't include Daniel Jones on it, but would I do the one that you just submitted there as well? Jones and Gibbs for Burrow and Hampton? Yeah. The tight end swaps don't change a ton for me. R. Martin in Degens, it's a 10-team Superflex start 9, a shallower league. So if we're getting 10-team start 9, Jalen Waddle, who is wide receiver 24, is going to hold a little bit more value than someone like Alec Pierce or a wide receiver further down the way, or a Josh Downs. Will hold more value compared to a deeper league. 10-team start 9, we're starting 90 players a week. Jalen Waddle is in here, who gains a little bit more value because the league is shallower. Am I sending Jalen Waddle for a 28 first? The notes here say the first round pick would be my own, so hopefully projecting late. I'm in a win now mode with neighbors being possibly on the pup. I'm wondering if I should trade for someone like Waddle. I like sending a 28 first for Waddle. You've got 2 27 firsts. You could move one of those for a better player than Waddle if you wanted to, but a 28 first for Waddle, I think, is a good price for Jalen Waddle. I would not move Waddle for just a 28 first. We'll call that one 4. And then here's the 5th one, and then we'll jump into team reviews for a while. We got A Hook 15 and AEA is the league. I'm clicking on the set live. It's popping up on my screen and on yours. And it's a big one. It's going to start covering up my face. So we'll talk through it. 14 team, 1 quarterback, start 9. Do we have quarterbacks in the deal? I don't see any. How are we feeling on this one? It's a big boy trade. No tight end premium here. One side has JSN, DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson, Kincaid, a 27-second. The other side, Colston Loveland, Marvin Harrison, Jamison Williams, Bucky Irving. It's a split. It's an asset split for the JSN side. And the team submitting this one, A-Hook, the name, does it show up for you guys? It does. Like right up, if you're on the Twitch and YouTube feed, next to the name A-Hook, you can see a little hook, which is actually just their team name. Would I move all of Marv, Jamison Williams, Bucky Irving, and Colston Loveland? This team also has Tyler Warren and Travis Kelce. You can take a look at that. So moving depth at tight end to get up to JSN, I don't think it's paying a lot. But if we want to get to around 4 firsts for JSN, which is about the value I would have for him, even in this 14-teamer, because it's just a 1 quarterback league, can we call this 4? Like 1, 2, almost for Loveland, 3, 4, like, and then bits and bobs back? I don't think this is I don't think it's an overpay. With the team that you have, you're good at quarterback. You're good at running back, even if you move on from Bucky Irving and you bring in production with DeAndre Swift. We lose Marv and Jamison Williams, but Marv has been a bit disappointing. We bring in JSN. There would then be JSN, Ladd, Mekhi Lemon, T. Higgins. Not a ton past that, unless I'm missing other folks in the trade that you're getting back. I think we're okay. You're paying the full price. So sometimes people put messages in the chat and say, who wins? Man, no one's winning on this one. It's feeling, Marcus one, like feeling pretty even. You're sending a ton and you're bringing in JSN with a new offensive coordinator. It could end up changing. I don't know that I'm necessarily looking to blow things out as big as this, but we're not overpaying, or we're not massively overpaying. So there could be other deals that you could make with Loveland, Harrison, Jamison Williams, and Bucky Irving that we're all just kind of passing on in this deal that makes this team better. But if you want to blow it up all in one, sure. I think we said I say things and I immediately forget them. I'm pretty sure we said we would do that one and then we would jump to team reviews. We also got Greasy K saying happy early Father's Day. Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. I think my wife does bedtime while I do these shows. She is off to bed. We're traveling this weekend. Far to go visit my wife's family. So hopefully it ends up being a nice Father's Day. But for Sunday, I am driving home probably 10, 11 hours in the car. Not my ideal way to spend the day. Trying to clear this trade off the screen. It did move off of one screen and not off the other. Let's try this. Set this one live because we're going to jump to a team review. Close that one, clear that, refresh that. And this should both go away. See if let's just go to the team review. We'll jump over to Hot Hands Hanan, and then we've got Mo, and then we've got Owen and Keller. Dylan, team review says complete. How do I see it, though? I didn't get a link. Dylan, if you were not here, if your team review is marked as complete, and that means it's probably one that was submitted before Monday when we turned on paid team reviews. Anything that was set before that was demo team reviews. We will send out an email to anyone on the site who had one submitted this weekend explaining that. But anything that was submitted as a team review before that was something that we would cover on shows for people who were here live to catch them. But because anywhere you go online, team reviews are a paid product and quite expensive, we were not going to commit to all of them for free. So those have been marked completed. If you wanted to submit that, it is open. Submissions are open. We have a queue of team reviews right now for people who have submitted them as paid reviews. And that's where those will stand. We got Hot Hands Hanan. I'm opening it up and we will switch to the view. I see people submitting trade questions in the chat. Like Ryan with a trade question. We take all our trades through our website, Ryan. We don't read them from the chat because we don't see your team that way. We don't see the league scoring that you're in that way. If you've checked out some of the trades on the show, it pulls up graphics of all of the players involved in the trade, the league scoring, etc., and so on. And we just can't do that from the chat. All right, we got Hot Hands Hanan in Bush League Dynasty. It's a 12-team Superflex, start 11. Half point per reception, half point tight end premium. That is some of the deeper leagues that we've seen on trade questions and team reviews. Hot Hands Hanan is here on the Twitch. And I should mention this. I think that was a super chat from Greasy Case. Thank you very much for that one. If I've got that. Yeah, what? Okay, it was. Thank you very much, Greasy Case. The combined chat that I'm looking at, I don't always look at the actual YouTube app. Thank you very much for the super chat on that happy early Father's Day. We do really appreciate it. All right, let's jump to Bush League Dynasty. Was this one Hot Hands Hanan? I need to write down the timestamp for it. Yes. Get this one at 1:11:40. And here it is. I'm checking. It's up on all the screens. What we do with the team reviews is we go through these position by position. We give a rating 0 stars through 4 stars for each position. And that includes what we project them to do for production. I meant to say producing and future production and said production. Don't know what I said. For production as well as future tradable value. So someone like Aaron Rodgers will give you some production, harder to trade because there's not really any future value there. So we'll go through position by position, give a rating for each of those, and then we'll give an outlook for the team. How we do? Are we contending this year? Are we rebuilding this year? Are we contending this year and then doing a retool? And so on. We'll look at the other teams in the league. We'll suggest a couple trades, and then all of that gets wrapped up into a summary that will be emailed out to you guys tomorrow while I'm on my road trip, with a link back to check out a summary of this stuff as well as of the timestamped video of what we're about to do. So we got Hot Hands Hanan here, quarterbacks in the Superflex League. We got Joe Burrow, Tyler Shuck, Aaron Rodgers, who I mentioned, but did not know was on this team, and Justin Fields starting possibly early in the year for the Chiefs. This is feeling like if it was Joe Burrow and one better quarterback, like Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, we'd say like, oh, good. It's a good 3. We're going to get good production from this team. This feels like a weaker 3 to a really strong 2 with Tyler Shuck as the other option here. Now, I like Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck to me, coming off of last year with half a year of good production, or over half a year of pretty good production, feels like small sample size, that was good. And the market starts to believe, well, surely it will continue, or surely he'll take a step forward. There is no sophomore slump that happens in fantasy. That's kind of how I feel people feel about Tyler Shuck. So good market rate on Shuck, but we don't know for sure that we're going to get production from him going forward. So we're feeling okay here at quarterback. Going into the year, I bet we feel like we can contend with this, but I do like to call out with Tyler Shuck. We thought Penix would be a contender or a good QB2, borderline QB2, QB3 last year, and we don't feel that way. We could easily see ourselves in a year looking at Shuck and saying, man, he had a great first year of his career, and then we found out he was fine to bad. We've got Aaron Rodgers as a good third quarterback to fill in on bye weeks. We're feeling all right here. And then Justin Fields, if there was a team, I can't think of where you could really move Fields for value. We're kind of just stuck holding him. He'll probably produce a little bit for the Chiefs early, but then Mahomes comes back and he's not taking over that job. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Scatterbo, David Montgomery. Am I blanking on the first name? Emmett Johnson. Pretty sure it's Emmett Johnson for Kansas City. And then Keelan Black for San Francisco possibly has a role in the future. This is feeling a weaker 3, stronger 2. Kind of same way we were feeling with the quarterback. Jonathan Taylor's going to give you good production. We could see big value upside for Cam Scatterbo if he performs really well. We're looking near the end of David Montgomery's career, but decent RB2 production. Decent RB2 production from him this year. RB2 to RB3. Solid flex for you. In a deeper league, David Montgomery's probably, we're starting 11 guys every week in this league. David Montgomery's probably starting a lot of those weeks. And I think it's going to be good value, good production to value ratio there. Wide receivers, Ibuka, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman. It's like the most solid two. Again, I keep saying 2 to 3 with all these positions, but they're all right on that borderline. Ibuka could be a stud. We thought Ladd might become a stud last year. He was actually valued very similar to JSN last offseason, and JSN became that stud player. That doesn't mean Ladd McConkey can't take a step forward in his third year, and Ibuka could take a step forward in his third year, but we don't feel super confident about anyone here at the top. We've got Pittman on the Steelers. Again, in a start 11 league, it's going to be kind of like sneaky good value, starting for you a lot, unless he takes a massive step backwards on Pittsburgh. But Rodgers and Mike McCarthy on that offense, I think you've got some of these harder to fill roster spots with decent options. Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, possibly even Jalen McMillan with Mike Evans gone. So we're feeling okay about the strength of this needing to be deep roster. Tight ends, was there a tight end premium here? 0.5 point. We got Stowers, Likely, Kmet. This is across the board. We're looking at 2s. Wide receiver, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. We're feeling like we're closer to 3s. Tight ends is feeling solidly. There's not a shot where I'm really saying we've got a 3 here. Eli Stowers, I know people mention him in the same phrases, or like mention him and say, well, Dallas Goedert was a 2nd round pick for the Eagles, so he's the next one of those. And before Dallas Goedert, it was Zach. Am I blanking on this? Was it Zach? Yeah, Zach Ertz, who then went to, Zach Ertz, who was there, who was a great tight end in the 2nd round. It doesn't always just work out that way, that a team who has found success drafting one position in a round, that then transfers over to their next player that they draft there. So we have like upside. Stowers Likely, but we could be getting into this year and saying, man, we don't have any tight ends performing for us. That's why I'm not close to a 3 on that one. POA Ammo says, I love the recent trades on the side, specifically trades that happened you really like, or like the good trades. I haven't looked at them. For your draft picks, you have your own first, in 27, no 28 first. And in 2029, you've got all of your picks. We're going to call it like solid 3. We haven't moved on from anyone. We haven't added anything in to really change that. We're feeling pretty good here. If we need to get to 11 starters, how do we feel? This is an exercise I like to do, especially in a deeper league, like just count out players. How are we feeling about our starting lineup? How many spots do we feel like we need to fill? Like, got Joe Burrow, Tyler Shuck starting every week for us. Jonathan Taylor, Scatabo, probably Montgomery every week for us, 5, and we have to get to 11. Ibuka, McConkey, DJ Moore's probably in there every week, and we're at 8. We have to put a tight end in at least 1. So we're putting Stowers in Likely. And then we have Josh Downs, Pittman getting us to 11. Likely could be in there some weeks. Keelan Black, if he has a role with the 49ers, or if there's an issue with Christian McCaffrey. Jalen McMillan could get some time in there. And then some nice dart throws. Christian Kirk, Xavier Thomas for the Bears, who could be something in his 2nd year. Like, we're feeling okay about the depth here. We're feeling all right. If we look at your team here, Hot Hands Hanan, on where are we going to get production in this year, you're in the middle bottom range. What I say here is, we always give the disclaimer with projected lineup scoring that we project things going into the year with fantasy football, and the fun is we don't know the future. So if we're counting out 12 teams and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make the playoffs, 7, 8, and you're in this range, you are in the spot where you could be contending this year. This year, we will get players like Malik Neighbors' tier being injured. Joe Burrow's tier players will probably get injured again this year. George Kittle tier players will get injured again this year. So you can get into the playoffs with this league, with this team. So it is a team where you can contend this year, but we probably are looking at a retool coming up within the next 1 to 2 years. We're not sure that we're going to get production from DJ Moore. If we don't see big steps forward from Ibuka or McConkey, we're It's going to feel more like a retooling next year. If you wanted to with this roster, I don't know that I would say with this roster that I feel like we need to try to get ahead of anything here with the age of it and start a rebuild right now. I think you have enough guys to contend this year. And then we retool in 2027, move on from some guys. If we're looking to make some trades here, it may be taking like a 28 second and trying to get younger from Jonathan Taylor while matching production. Could you add something to Taylor to get to James Cook, who's going to give you really good production and is a year or two younger? Options like that. Those are the things that I would be looking for. But going into this year, I think this is something that we try to contend with. We try to get into the playoffs. If we get 5-6 weeks in, then we start taking stock of things and moving on from guys. But there's no reason your team could not make the playoffs. And what we say with teams in Dynasty is get into the playoffs, and then it becomes much more of a crapshoot where you just need to win 3 games and then you can become the champion. So we'll send that out with a recap of kind of the marching orders of what I would do with this team, as well as some example trades that I might try to explore. That should come to you by email. We should have your email that you used to sign up on the site, either one linked to your Discord or one linked through Gmail, and that will get sent out to you. That'll have some trades on there, as well as a typed up kind of recap of what we're saying and a link to the video with the timestamp of where we covered this. Let's go to Mo. Now, if I missed anything, I didn't miss anything from you in the chat as we were going through that. Let's open up Mo's. And let me make sure that we are on team reviews, we got Mo, Owen, and Keller on the board for today. We can always add more people to the queue through our website, boombustfantasy.com. If you're on TikTok, it'll say it right here. If you're on Twitch, I guess you would have to look at we'll put a graphic on future videos on the Twitch and YouTube feed. I guess you would have to look at the browser URL bar, but it's boombustfantasy.com, our website where you can submit your team for review. Let's double check that we're not missing anything from the chats, like unapologetic apologist. This is just a trade question. We take all our trade questions through the site, apologist. CC Danielson, if you stood pat at quarterback this year, it wouldn't be the worst, right? It wouldn't be the worst. It wouldn't be the worst. No, I think that's what we covered on Monday. You have a lot of options of guys who are going to be top 12 quarterbacks and put up solid scoring weeks each week. I think you just had like 5 of them. So it's just kind of guess and check. Maze, glad people are getting these team reviews. Hey, me too. Me as well. Andrew, too true. What tool are you using to look at the teams? Andrew, it's our site, boombustfantasy.com. So the TikTok is Boombust Fantasy. We also have a website that goes with it. It's linked on our page on TikTok. There should be a graphic I think it's in every video from the last month or so. And text on all of the videos that says where you can submit your trades or teams to review them on our site. Let's take a look at Mo's and let's grab a timestamp. What are we at? 0124, 2430. 012430. So I can put a timestamp in the YouTube. Do we have this? League of Extraordinary Generals. Here we go. I grab this and I take it and I put it here. Here we go. I keep wanting to call him Mo. For Donovan Mo. The team Twin Bowers. What we get? We get a TikTok follow? Neil and Kanan, thank you. Thank you for the follow on the TikTok. League of Extraordinary G's. 10 teams, super flex, start 10, start 100 players a week, 20 quarterbacks each week, which I mention specific numbers. That helps me frame values. Hopefully it helps you guys frame values. 20 quarterbacks each week need to get started, which makes a guy like Bryce Young slightly less valuable because you would have to start him way less. If you're starting him in a 12 team super flex, he's probably getting started a lot. There might be a team who starts him every week. This team has Bryce Young. It doesn't have to start him every week. Same thing with Malik Willis. We've got Twin Bowers. We'll go through here position by position. We'll give a rating for each position as well as picks. And we'll talk about the outlook for this team and some moves that we might make to keep you contending as often as possible. With Twin Bowers at quarterbacks, we've got Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Malik Willis. As we do these ratings, we look at projected production going into 2026, as well as tradable value. So someone like Trevor Lawrence has been up and down throughout his career in terms of his trade value. But right now, he's back on the upswing. He's coming off a QB, I want to say 4 or 5, a top 5 quarterback finish. We're feeling really good about Trevor Lawrence. On the other side, got CJ Stroud coming off of a disappointing year and not holding nearly as much trade value. Going into his second year, CJ Stroud was a top startup pick. That is not held going forward. If we're just giving a ranking here for this position, my gut's saying 2, strictly on the very low trade value of CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is someone that I like in general as a QB2. And I like trading for if we're looking to bring in quarterbacks. If we were looking to do down tiers for quarterbacks, I'd say, yeah, let's down tier to Stroud. But with this team, we're already there. That doesn't give us flexibility. We hope to get production from CJ Stroud and a bounce back from Stroud. With the team improving, the Texans have improved their offensive line. They've improved their run game. They had one of the worst run games in the NFL last year. And bringing in someone like David Montgomery is actually going to help this offense. Improving this offensive line is going to help CJ Stroud. We just need the offense to be able to continuously move the ball. And they couldn't do that with a running game last year and a terrible offensive line. So I'm expecting good things from Stroud, but we're going to give this a 2 at quarterback. At running backs, we got Jeremiah Love, Judkins, and then some hopefuls. Some potential starting options with Hubbard, Blake Corum, Jalen Warren, Jordan Mason. I'm going to call this like very, very week 3. Just on the upside of Jeremiah Love. Doing a lot of the heavy lifting on value. And then Judkins, not as much value, but I think a lot of good production from this 1-2 punch that you'll have at running back. Like you could... And then for bye weeks, Hubbard, Corum, Jalen Warren, they can fill in for bye weeks. Not a ton of real depth if there's any sort of injury to Jeremiah Love or Judkins. I think we're feeling that one. Wide receivers, Tet McMillan, Nico Collins, Mekhi Lemon, Devontae Adams, Xavier Worthy. 2. No strong stud option with trade value. Tet McMillan's probably up there. I mean, he's a top 10. But then behind that, we have an aging Nico Collins. I like Mekhi Lemon coming in. And Devontae Adams as a 4th when we're looking to fill out. Because it's only 10 teams starting, some of that value kind of trims away. Like having a top 5 wide receiver is going to hold a lot more value. So we dip it a little bit there. At tight end, we got Brock Bowers, Dallas Goedert. We're feeling good about that. Like 4. Now, we don't have a tight end premium in this league. And at picks, we don't have a first-round pick in 2027. We don't have a first-round pick in 2028. I'm not sure I see where that has gone with Twin Bowers. We're looking at a middle of the pack to bottom half team in terms of projected production here without more stuff coming in. That doesn't mean you have to start a retool or rebuild, but this is feeling like something where we can contend this year. It's possible to pull production or pull value out of someone like Brock Bowers, down tier and pick up a first, or down tier and pick up another running back, or probably more realistically down tier and pick up a wide receiver that's young, who can go up in value. That might be where I look with this team. You definitely are a candidate to make the playoffs. Looks like we've got one stronger team here who's more likely to get a bye week, and then a lot of guys contending. So as injuries start hitting and the flukiness of the NFL season starts happening and trades start happening in season, you're in the mix to make the playoffs and contend. especially with bounce back in value from CJ Stroud. With this team, what I'd say is we should probably just move Malik Willis. We're not looking to get a lot of production from him. He's not starting for us. Like we were saying at the start of this, with Willis and Bryce Young, they don't hold as much value because it's only a 10-team league versus a 12-team league. That's a multiple quarterbacks that just don't need to start each week. With these things, I might look to do some down or moving. Might look to move on from Bryce Young, move on from Malik Willis to try to get some of that value just into more liquidity, more stuff that you could do with those assets. Same thing with Blake Corum, Jalen Warren, and so on. If we can start to convert that into better, cleaner value, I like Blake Corum okay, but you probably can't do as much with Blake Corum as you could with just picks in the future. Everybody likes picks. Not everybody likes Blake Corum. So possible spots to move. Let's just turn Stroud, Young, and Malik Willis into something else. And then if we need to, don't be afraid to down tier from Jeremiah Love or down tier from Brock Bowers for things like first round picks. If I'm down tiering from Love, I want to move to a running back who has upside and firsts. If I'm doing that with Brock Bowers, I want to move to like Tyler Warren and a first type move, or Tyler Warren and a receiver worth of first, like Tyler Warren and T. Higgins to get more potential value, or maybe like Tyler Warren and you have Mekhi Lemon, like Tyler Warren and Jordan Tyson range. Maybe we're adding something in to get you to Warren and Tyson for value risers. Those are the options that I would see here because we just don't have first round picks in the next couple of years to go up in value. If we look at your future dynasty value, like it's middle of the pack, but just missing picks. The stuff that goes up in value for sure, we're low on it. Maybe we get a big breakout from Tet. Maybe Jeremiah Love becomes the next Jahmyr Gibbs and shoots up in value in that way. Other than that, unless we're getting a bounce back from Stroud, there's not a ton of stuff with massive rising potential. Ooh, I did blank out and miss out on Mike Evans to help you with a starting lineup. So I think we're more comfortable contending this year. And then this is feeling like contending this year and then probably a retool and then contending again. Or just contending this year, resetting in the next year and moving on from the guys and then contending again. So we'll send out an email with a recap of that, some trade ideas, as well as more in-depth notes of things to go forward with coming out to you. And now we've got Owen, the three-eyed wombats. Let's take a look at this one. The team is the league is the Rejects. The team is the three-eyed wombats. Is it popping up? Should be. It's loading right now. Here it is. Let's take a look. It's a 12-team Superflex Start 9 PPR. We've got the three-eyed wombats. We'll go through this position by position. We'll give a ranking to each position. We'll look at your outlook for the next few years. And then we'll give some marching orders, some trade ideas for things that should keep you contending going forward. Do I have a name? Let me pull up a name that I can see on this one. This is Owen. Alrighty, Owen. Let me mark down the timestamp on 3450. 3450. Let's go position by position. At quarterback, we got Jordan Love, Ty Simpson, Matt Stafford. Two. There's not a ton of trade flexibility here, but I think we're going to get really good production. Matt Stafford coming off of an MVP season. I like Jordan Love as a QB2. I think we've got a good 1-2 punch of pocket passers. Stafford, Love. If you look at them on the screen here, it's going to show them based on their market value in trades, which is why we're not at a 3, which is why we're at a stronger spot. Like we're using Stafford for the next couple of years. It's hard to move him and get value that you could translate into a different role. We're kind of just, we have Stafford, we're using him, we're going to get good production, or we're trading him for like a second or a second and a little bit more that then kind of just is best used as Matt Stafford. Ty Simpson is there to replace him in the future. I like Ty Simpson as a good value riser, so we want to make a point to call that out here. But without a ton of very desirable pieces, there's not a lot of room to pull value out of guys here. Sometimes we'll look at a roster and say, well, you have Drake May. If you have Drake May or Josh Allen, if you needed a running back, you can down tier from that position and trade for a running back and a quarterback. We're not really doing that with our quarterbacks here, and we don't really need to. We're just kind of locked in with these are our guys. Maybe we pair them with maybe we pair them with picks to up tier. Maybe we'll take a look at that when we get to it. At running backs, you got Genty, Bucky Irving, Travis Etienne. This is like a week or three. That's a solid top three there. And then Mike Washington to back up any sort of issues with Genty. If you have Ashton Genty, I don't hate using a rookie pick on Mike Washington, which seems like you did. So we're feeling okay. At running backs, we might look to add in a little bit of depth. We have some room to add in like veteran depth options. We'll see where we're at with kind of this team as it's set up for contending. And I think we're probably going to be a contending team here. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Mike Wilson, Khalil Shakir. Got any other aging guys here? Keon Coleman. Again, like a 3. We're not hitting the stud levels other than Amon-Ra. Garrett Wilson could be a value riser with Geno Smith as maybe the best quarterback he's had in a while. Hopefully the best quarterback he's had in a while. T. Higgins giving good production, and then maybe Mike Wilson carries over some of what he did last year. Maybe. Khalil Shakir has been a decent spot starter. If we're in a 12-by-9, he might be filling in at flex every once in a while, and that's not the worst thing in the world. And we're not relying on him, so we're feeling okay. Tight ends, Harold Fannin and Jake Ferguson. Feeling like 3. Got good young tight end, Harold Fannin. We have good veteran production with Jake Ferguson. Do we have a tight end premium here? No tight end premium, but I think we can get by with these two. I think we can get by with no issues with these guys. Just like we were saying with quarterbacks. Not a stud. Harold Fannin, tight end 5. It's kind of middle of the road. But we don't need to, I'm not seeing a lot of spots where we really need to fill out more value. Future picks, you got 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year. And I think we might start looking at things in a 3-round draft and then a first and 2 seconds in 2028 picks. I think we're feeling like 3. You've got more than the general baseline. When we look at your team in terms of production projections, we've got you at 3rd. This is a playoff team. If we're looking at aging assets, the aging asset that we have here is like possibly Mike Wilson doesn't age out, but just turns back into a pumpkin. And Matt Stafford, if he ages out, you've already got his replacement there. The Rams drafted Ty Simpson at pick 13, and you've already got him. So we're feeling okay. Like this is a team that is contending this year, likely contending again in the next year with 227 firsts coming in to bolster that lineup if we don't make any trades with them. And then a first and 2 seconds in 2028. I feel like we're good. No one here is really that much at risk of aging out without being replaced. Jake Ferguson, possibly. So what can we do? Well, we've got 2 firsts. If we're worried about Jordan Love, can we up tier from Jordan Love with a 1st-round pick? Can we look at some options here? Like, would the person in your league send you Justin Herbert for Jordan Love in a 1st? I don't know that I would even do that. I might just ride out Jordan Love, and if we're not feeling it next year, it's a deep quarterback draft class, and you would have 2 first-round picks to replace him. If this is my team, I might just hold pat with Love. I'll put some feelers out there and see if there's Love lovers. It's kind of a dumb sentence. See if there's anybody who's really hyped on Jordan Love and wants to send, wants to down tier to Love because they think he's a good value. And in that situation, maybe they're giving you a better quarterback and you're moving a first or a second with Jordan Love to up tier. We could take a look at that with some of these future seconds. That might be something I would want to do with a future second, 2027 second, is improve there. But that's just because there's not a ton of obvious other spots to make a move. Maybe the other obvious other spot would be a 27 first and Mike Wilson to get to a better thing. If we're worried about value going away with Mike Wilson, he had a great second half to last year. If there's someone in your league who believes that's going to continue and you send a first in Mike Wilson and you up tier at wide receiver, I'd be open to doing that. I don't know that we have to hold on to both of these. And then at tight end, I think we're staying put. At running back, I feel like we're staying put. We could pull up a couple of these teams that aren't projected to score as many points and see if there's guys to pick off. Like if you could send Mike Wilson in a second, can you get to Jalen Waddle? I might start to ask that guy if he wants to do that. This team X weapon isn't looking to contend. And I like Waddle as an option to have a good solid year for your team and then still hold value, just to be a value riser. If we wanted to add more running backs to your team, we have Genty, Irving, Etienne. You just want to feel good about a fourth option in case of an injury to cover things, or just a dude who could cover flex for you. We saw David Montgomery right here. You could probably snag him for a second. I don't know if X Weapon feels like his team is contending this year. I think you could grab him for a second. J.K. Dobbins, you could probably snag for a third or two. And when J.K. Dobbins is playing, he just has been producing. He produces when he's healthy. He just isn't really healthy. If you look at Ben Blue, options here to go target, nothing is jumping out as something your team really needs that this guy might want to move on from. Maybe Jaden Reed for a second to help out with your wide receivers, but I might hold Pat. I might hold there. DeAndre Swift as another running back I really like for a second round pick. And then if you can get DK Metcalf for a couple thirds, I have seen that trade happening. It's not a high percentage that the trade goes through, but a couple thirds for DK Metcalf or just a future second for DK Metcalf is about the price. And for the team that you have, that does slot in as someone that would help you out. He's not going to be your league winner, but with what we're looking at for your team, we're just looking to add in more veteran production, like cheap value production. So if you could target Devontae Adams, a player like that who's got 1 to 2 more years left that you can end up getting pretty cheap, that's what we're looking for here. Vets with some of these extra seconds that you have with a team like this that's going to contend. I'm very often looking to send away these future seconds to either get younger if I need to, or up tier off of guys that I don't feel that confident about, like Mike Wilson, where someone in your league might be into Wilson. I'd be looking to do something like that. So we'll send out an email tomorrow with a recap of this and then a timestamp to come back to this video and check it out, as well as some of these trade ideas put into more concrete examples that will line out with trade calculators there. So thank you very much for that one. Oh, and let's get on to Keller. We'll open it up. We'll bring it over here. We've got Brofucius saying Love's days are numbered. Isn't that true for all of us, Brofucius? That's very deep. That's very deep. I'd say all of our days are numbered, big bro. Aren't we all dying every day, Brofucius? I know I am. Sorry. All righty. POA ammo. Is that who we're on? I see the message from you. POA ammo. Let's take a look at this. We got notes from him in the Twitch chat. Was the 4th worst team in the league. Did 24 trades this offseason. All right. Offseason's not done. Let's see where we go. Let's see where we go. Oh, also nope, let's jump back because Owen's saying Love and Garrett Wilson to tier up to Jaden Daniels. Let me reopen it. Am I sending Jordan Love and Garrett Wilson to tier up to Jaden Daniels here? You can. You can. I'll put the team back on the screen. Here's what I'd say with that. Got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Mike Wilson. Am I personally with this team looking to send Garrett Wilson and Jordan Love to tier up to Jaden Daniels? Possibly. If this is a league that trades a lot, I see one that went through yesterday, one a week before, two a week before that, one a week before that. Like, there's some healthy trading here. People are trading. If you felt like you could tier up to Garrett Wilson or tier up to Jaden Daniels and then tier to other things, I think it's a decent value win. I don't think you're hitting the high overpay for going from 2 to 1. Like sometimes when you up tier and you're sending a 2-for-1 deal, they want you to really overpay. I don't feel like you're overpaying that much with Love and Garrett Wilson to move up to Jaden Daniels. I don't know that that's the first thing my mind jumps to. Like I do kind of like Jordan Love. If you then wanted to send a future first to backfill and replace Garrett Wilson, or looking at the team that has Jaden Daniels. Did I just see him? That's you. Jaden Daniels. I gotta go the whole way through. Here he is. If you're able to send I might even say shoot for a little bit more, sending a future first and getting like Mekhi Lemon on there or Zay Flowers on there to backfill. Even grabbing like Lemon for a future first, and then you're getting another value riser in there on that deal. I don't think it's horrible. I'm not that down on Jordan Love though. And on value, it's a fair value deal. I just don't know where it would put your team. You'd just be weaker at wide receiver would be my concern, but which you could backfill in other ways. Here we are. We gave him with a tease. We said we'd pull his team up and then swapped right back. Keller, which was SpongeBob, right? SpongeBob Freak Pants. Jaggin' my dicker. I don't know what that name would mean, but I guess we're here for it. Do I have the right team pulled up? Yep, POA. We'll go with POA because that's the name on Sleeper. Let me make a note to add that. I'm writing down that we should add in the Sleeper name on this screen. I don't actually see your Sleeper name. I see your team name, and then I see your team name here. So for probably next Wednesday's show, we'll have a show on Monday, but I'm out of town this weekend, so I don't know how much we're going to add in. We'll have the Sleeper name show up on there. That's what I was writing down. Let's see, POA, you had BTJ, ETN, all Jags. Dicker is your kicker. Oh, yeah, jagging my dicker. Okay, nice. Okay, 1:49:45 for the timestamp so that you can come back to this. I just scribbled thinking my brain will understand that number, and it won't. All right. Position by position breakdown. How are we feeling? It's a 12-team, 1 quarterback. Start 8. Half-point PPR. And you were saying the 4th worst team in the league. You did a lot of trades. Let's get a gauge of where we're feeling on this team. If we're looking at projected production, we're feeling good. We're feeling like you're going to get some production. We're feeling like you're going to get some production. Let's take a look at this. In a 1 quarterback league, how are we feeling with Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Malik Willis? We're feeling like 2 because it's a 1 quarterback league. And actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to put it as a weaker 3 because you have trade value here. If I'm in a 1 quarterback league, do I want Herbert and Lawrence and then Malik Willis as well? I might want to have just a down tier at my 2nd quarterback. But you have that trade value, which we can then move to other things. You've made a bunch of trades. You might already be looking at your team and saying, hey, we might trade Trevor Lawrence to up tier somewhere else. You could. Or pivot on Trevor Lawrence, bring in an older 2nd quarterback. Or Lawrence is your 1st and you move on from Justin Herbert. Those are options that we'll cover as well. Running backs, Achane, McCaffrey, Irving, Scatterbo, Brian Robinson, not Bijan, Marshawn Lloyd. I see the messages in the chat. We'll come back to them. We'll get to them for like Matt and Extreme. We will. And the ones above it. I won't call out every single name. I do see them coming through. Running backs, we're good on production. We're good on value. This is because it's a 1 quarterback league. I'm going to say it's a really solid 3, kind of a weakish 4 with the 1 quarterback as the caveat. Achane, we feel good about. We feel good about the production from Christian McCaffrey. He's been lasting much longer. I know earlier in the show, I called out a lot of running backs slow down after 27, and I said Saquon and Derrick Henry did not. The same is also true with Christian McCaffrey. We have a lot of guys performing well past where other running backs didn't. So how much longer do we have with McCaffrey? Unsure. But if he were to fade away, we've got Achane, Irving, Scatterbo to replace him. We're feeling all right. Wide receivers, oh boy. Jamar Chase, which is really just the only name that I saw and then said, oh boy. I don't know if anybody else has that sort of reaction to Jamar. But I did. All right, wide receivers. This is a start 8. Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Jordan Tyson, Luther Burden. Yeah, this could be I'm gonna say 3. Like really good 3. Really good. Nope. 4. What am I doing? I didn't see Mikhaila. I didn't get all the way down. No. Oh, 4. What am I doing? You've got a ton of options here, a ton of production. I should have just read out all the names. Is the mistake that I'm making. Let's reset on the wide receivers because you guys aren't inside my brain. Jamar Chase, great. George Pickens, really good. Jordan Tyson, Luther Burden, Mekhi Lemon, Zay Flowers. This is a 4 out of 4 at wide receivers. We might want to move some of this stuff into our starting lineup. We might want to consolidate some of this here, but we've got really good production with Jamar Chase, and we have a ton of tradability. We have a lot of value here, a lot of liquid value here too. Like people like Luther Burden. People like these rookies. People like George Pickens. People don't as much like Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers. So I feel like we're good here. This is definitely 4. I think I had looked at Jordan Tyson and then just my brain farted out and I started saying this wasn't as good as I thought it was. I was wrong. Tight ends, we got Laporta, Gadsden, George Kittle. 3 to 2. A weaker 3. And then future picks, you've got someone's 27 first and 2nd, which is really all I care about. A 28 first and 2nd, and then no first in 2029. But we can see sometimes it's just like a gut feeling. When I see that a pick is missing, can I tell where it went? And yeah, I can. We've got the message here. All I've done this offseason is get assets and flip them. I like it. Like we've called out at the start, you have the highest projected scoring in this league. we're contending. And if we're looking for pieces that we're losing to see like how many years in a row are we contending, I don't like to shoot out that far. Or I don't like to shoot out super far. So we put it into a 3-year range of like, you're contending. You're probably contending next year. You're probably contending for the next 3 years. And you have value. Like, where are we at on just dynasty value? You're second in dynasty value as well, with a big block of it being right in wide receivers, where I was calling that out. We're feeling really good about Jamar Chase. We feel okay about George Pickens. I mean, I feel okay about George Pickens. I don't know where he's going to be after this franchise tag year, but then we have 2 really good wide receiver prospects coming in as rookies. Luther Burden as a potential breakout. We can do a ton with the pieces that we have here. And that's where I would go with this team. Because let's just call out a starting lineup of starting 8. If we're starting Justin Herbert, Achane, McCaffrey, Jamar Chase, Sam Laporta, we're starting to look at, that's 5, and then we'll add in like Bucky Irving, Scatabo, Tyson. We're getting to 8 guys, and then saying, is Mekhi Lemon on the bench? Is Zay Flowers on the bench? Is Scatabo on the bench in any given week? I don't want 3 guys on my bench that should be in my starting lineup. So I think what we want to do here is find some sort of consolidation. Can we move Scatabo and Luther Burden and just come away with a way better receiver? So I think that's where I'm going to be looking. Because I think this team could use Drake London, could use Justin Jefferson, could use like on the lower end of that tier. Could you get to Tet McMillan? Someone in that range at wide receiver, you have the assets to up tier. If we're sending Zay Flowers and Scatabo, if we're sending Bucky Irving and Mekhi Lemon, Bucky Irving and Luther Burden, we can get a pretty good receiver coming in here to make a stronger, while still young, starting lineup. If you had more future seconds, which you could get in some of these deals that we'll throw in with some of these up tiers, sending a second to bring in a veteran to help you produce here. We've got a ton of youth, like Burden in his 2nd year, Mekhi Lemon as a rookie, Jordan Tyson as a rookie, Zay Flowers going into his 4th year with a 5th-year option picked up. Is that right? The only player that we're really at risk of losing anytime soon is Christian McCaffrey. So I think maybe McCaffrey goes away after this year or next year, but you've got a 1st-round pick to bring in someone else with potential value risers in Tyson and Lemon, who I think are just kind of cheap right now. So we'll put together some more trade options of up tiers. I'll go through each of the teams in the league and say like, okay, Bucky and Tyson, what can that get you? Scatabo and Burden, what can that get you? But it sounds like you've already been doing those kinds of things. How many trades did you say you had done so far? 24? I think you've done a good job. If I would say to drive towards anything, it would be like you've got George Kittle in your tight end. Can we get the George Kittle equivalent in your wide receivers, in your running backs? Find a way to add a vet at each of those positions who's going to give you a lot of cheaper production. And then at the same time, if we down tiered from, like, even just if you're looking at your wide receivers and saying, I'm going to send away 2 of them. Let's just, for a thought experiment, say like Pickens and Flowers, and cut some of the value from Flowers to get to a veteran, but then who's going to produce, but then just up tier on production from George Pickens. So moving from like Flowers to Devontae Adams, that's a down tier on value, but really good production with Adams. But by doing that down tier, you then take George Pickens and improve just in general with production and value with George Pickens. Like that's the type of moves I'm looking to do with this team. The way that you have really cheap production with George Kittle, we could probably get really cheap production at running back, really cheap production at wide receiver as your 3rd and 4th guys, and then make your top tier guys even better. Or we're just taking one of these wide receivers and pairing it with one of your quarterbacks to just get a way better quarterback. So I'll take a look at some of those. I'll put together more concrete examples that aren't, that fit within the trade calc, fit within kind of what your league has or your league's scoring. And we'll send those out in an email tomorrow. I'll be putting them up while I'm driving in the car. I won't be driving. I'll drive a lot of the driving that I'm doing tomorrow, but my wife will be driving some. And that's all the team reviews that we have in the queue. Meek, Jonathan Taylor, Chili Farts, boom. It has been a while since I've said that. It has been a while since I've said Jonathan Taylor, Chili Farts. Thank you for being back, Meek. We've got some trades in here. Sunjay Sharma, and actually let's take a look at here from Sunjay because we just cleared out the team review queue. It's been a minute since we pulled up the demo because, and please tell me if I've got to be getting your name wrong. I've got to be getting your name wrong, Sunjay, and I'm sorry. I've got to be pronouncing it wrong. Here is where you can go to get your team reviewed. I'll reset the demo. We'll log out, go to our homepage. Here's our homepage, boombustfantasy.com. If you're watching on TikTok, it's the same name as our TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, it's the same name as our YouTube. On Twitch, it's boombustjack because we also stream gaming there and we have a TikTok page for gaming. So we just have a joint name in the middle, Boombust Fantasy, Boombust Gaming, and then my name is Jack. So on Twitch, it's just Boombustjack, and we do both here. But if you want to get your team added into the queue to go through, and we'll go through it in depth, just like we have been, we do those through our website, boombustfantasy.com. Here's the homepage. It's very easy. Sunjay says, I think I just did it. It's incredibly easy to do it. For Rick, can you review the trade I made with Meek? Put it in on the site. Here's how you make your account. I'm logged into this instance of Google Chrome with my Gmail. Here's how easily it is to make your account. From the homepage, we click Get Started. You hit Continue with Google, and the account is made. The account is made. All you have to do is type in your Sleeper username after that. There's mine. And it will go to sleeper.com and it pulls all of the leagues that you're in. On our site, we have pages like Show My Team, Show My League. So we just pick which league we want to look at first. You can change this at any time. And then we'll skip the Discord Connect. And now we've created an account. We can pull any of our leagues here from the profile in the top right to change that. If you want to submit your team for review, you go to Team Advice, and then the team that you have the site selected to, you hit Request Team Review. We use a team review credit system. Same thing with trades, trade review credit system. You can get those on your profile page. You can also, from the Team Advice where it says 0 team review credits remaining, just click right there and it'll take you to the profile where you can buy team reviews. Same thing with trade reviews. If you haven't used our site before, like in Lewis Island, am I reading that right? It's all lowercase, so I'm trying to pick out where words are. Sunjay, yes, it does cost money, Sunjay. These do cost money, with the exception of if you're looking for trade questions, creating your account should just give you trade credits. I think it's set to everybody gets 3 trade credits upon creating their account to submit trade questions, which we're going to go to now. Who did we see here? Rick says, where was this? Oh, and Matt. We said we would look at Matt. Do you recommend auction drafting every year in Dynasty League? Each team keeps 5 players. I'm not sure what that means. Do I recommend it in a Dynasty? I wouldn't say that's a Dynasty. If you're keeping 5 players and doing an auction draft, that's usually a keeper league. We don't do a lot of keeper league coverage because they all end up with very unique setups like that. We keep 5 players and then we do an auction. So stuff like that. It's hard to give good values on that if I don't know who's kept. The value of players is just based on who's available. So if I don't know who's kept, it's really hard to give advice there. Am I missing anything else in here? Like Jack, met you, Jaden Daniels, scat for Cam Ward and Hampton. Who wins? You can submit your trades through the site. Through the site, Jack. And I think we've caught up on all the messages. If I haven't seen it, if I haven't read one out, we're going forward. Tim, my comments. Wasn't there one on Tim? Yeah, we did read Tim. Tim. Oh, Tim, what's your price on JSN? About 4 firsts, Tim. We do have our video values, our value videos each day. There should be a searchable one on JSN. Let's go with Hacksaw on the trade questions. Yep, Tim, we do have we put out daily trade value videos every day. And then if it's just trade questions, we do take trade questions through our site at boombustfantasy.com, and we're loading one in from the queue. Like Rick, would you rather have Genty or Jordan Love? I'd have them about the same. Here's the trade for Hacksaw in a 12-team Superflex start 9. It's been a minute since we had a trade on the screen. If you've just joined us on TikTok, this is why we don't pull questions from the chat, because if you submit them through our website, boombustfantasy.com, it will pull your league scoring. These trades came in while we've been live. I don't have time to make these assets. They just get made through the site. On this deal, A.J. Brown and a 27th third or Tet McMillan. It's a 12-team Superflex start 9. I'm going with Tet here. A.J. Brown was a top 12 receiver last year. I don't see the ceiling for him being massively higher. He's nearing the end of his career, kind of getting into these age 29, 30. Like, how many more years do we have with A.J. Brown? I think the value on this is just good. A.J. Brown could get you a first and a little bit more. So if I have Tet, I would not move Tet, or I think Tet should get in trade. Tet's value should be closer to 2 future firsts. So if we're looking at A.J. Brown as a first plus, a first and 2/3, a first and a second and a third, that's not really hitting the value that I want for Tet McMillan. So I'm going with Tet here. This trade came in from someone with A.J. Brown. Hacksaw on Hacksaw's team. You can see it on Twitch and YouTube, the entire team here. All of their players broken down by position with their future picks considered. This is the type of thing that I like to do with my future picks. I don't really want to make second round picks. If I'm in a rebuild and I have future picks and I trade players for future picks, I don't really want to make the picks. I want to do things like this where I'm trading a player and a pick to get younger at the same position. I'm taking Tet McMillan here. Just because that's how I like to use these picks, use the value of these picks. And I think it's a big value win getting Tet. Let me do a bit of housekeeping here. And then the queue for trades is at Meek says, I can't believe you remembered me with your chili farts. I mean, that's pretty memorable. That's pretty memorable. I found that, what did we say on this one? There we go. I found that while talking, when we're doing these streams, while I'm talking, not much that I say sticks with me. I'll say something and then immediately forget it. Like we were counting trades earlier. I could not remember what trade I was on. But just the general long-term, someone said Jonathan Taylor chili farts. I remember that. I do have a good long-term memory. Just it's hard to explain to other people the type of brain fog that I get into when trying to read and think and come up with what I'm going to say and calculate values while we're doing this. That leads to a lot of forgetting in the stream, but then long term, yeah, I remember a lot of the names of the regulars who pop in and out. And I remember them and I really appreciate them. On this deal for Super Cup, it's a 10-team Superflex start 10, 100 players started each week, 20 quarterbacks started each week. It's a PPR, half-point tight end premium. We do call out things like a tight end premium because it does take value from other positions and move it to the tight end. There's no tight ends in this deal, but it does change player values. Here, would we rather have Lamar Jackson or Bo Nix and Jalen Waddle? On paper, in a vacuum, this is feeling even to me. Where I could see teams where this is one of those trades where I could see both sides for the specific team asking, making sense. We'll pull it up. This team here from to Infinity and Devon, you can see the team right here. They have Bo Nix. They have Baker Mayfield. This is an up tier. With the wide receivers that they have and the depth that they have, can they move on? Like we were just recommending on one of our last team reviews, like you should up tier. We also recommend you should down tier. This is a fine price to pay. If you have Bo Nix, I like Jalen Waddle. He's in the trademark, in trade value, he's around wide receiver 26 right now. Last year in scoring, he was wide receiver 24 in PPR. I think this team has enough depth. You can check out the team right here. They've got Garrett Wilson, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Jalen Waddle, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir. Can they live without Jalen Waddle and move some of this value into their starting lineup? Yeah. Bring in Lamar. I don't think we're overpaying for Lamar here. I'm going to give the slight edge to Lamar in this deal. In a vacuum, we're calling it about even. But for the team that is asking, yes, this is an okay deal to make. I like it. Let's go with Mainers. As we pull this one up, we'll also mention if you're watching on the TikTok feed, there's not enough room on the screen to put a scrolling queue of the trades. But if you're watching on YouTube at Boom Bust Fantasy, if you're watching live on Twitch, my name there is Boom Bust Jack. We do just have a scrolling queue where you can see where to submit your trades and where you are in the queue of trades that we're going to go for. We got H. White. My trade request is a trade to up tier to Lamar 2. Buy low Lamar season. I also think it's a buy low Lamar season. We've got a trade on the screen here. Let's take a look at it for Meaners. 12-team Superflex, start 9. No tight end premium in this league, and we're looking at some tight ends. The notes here say there is no tight end premium. Again, you don't have to type in, on a lot of sites, in a lot of places where you're sending in trade advice, trade question advice, you have to put in all of the context. We'll just grab it right for you when you submit it through the site. So you don't have to put in things like there's no tight end premium. I can see it. They want the Mendoza Bauer stack. I almost said Mendoza Bauer stack. Would we move Eli Stowers, a 27 first, a 28 first, and a 28 third for Brock Bowers? For the team here, they have 3 27 firsts, and then they still have a 28 first. You can check that out on the Twitch and YouTube feed where I'm trying to make sure I'm pointing with my pencil to where we show all of their future draft picks. So we have the draft picks to move this stuff. Would I do this with Stowers? I don't know that we're going to for sure have Stowers be a big breakout. What do I want for Bowers in a 12-team start 9, no tight end premium? I feel like we're paying the full price here. We're not getting them cheap. Are we overpaying with basically 3 firsts? 3 firsts and a 28 projected late third. That's around the price. That is the full price for Bowers. I don't think what I'll say on this trade, I don't think you need this. I don't think this trade needs this 28 third on there. I don't think it needs it. Like I bet you could convince this guy to say, I'm not giving you this 28 third, 3 firsts for Brock is enough. But it's also not going to be a massive deal breaker for me. For the squad you have, actually, for the squad you have, you ain't got any other players. Wait a minute. You ain't got any other players. Where's all the players? Wait, okay. For the notes on this, on the trade, I want that Mendoza Bauer stack. Take a look at this team. The view that I have doesn't, I talk through the trade in a vacuum. In a vacuum, not a horrible trade, but for the team you have, the message, the notes that the person submitted, I want that Mendoza Bauer stack. That would be basically all you have. You'd have Carnell Tate, Mendoza Bowers, no running backs, no notable wide receivers. I don't know that up tiering at tight end is the move here. I don't know that up tiering at tight end is the move here. We're paying the full market price for Brock Bowers. We're not getting a value win here. And this team needs some value, like value growth from these picks. We need to be taking the shot on Stowers here to get that value win. I don't know that this trade fits for this team. I might say I don't think it's one that I would do. If I'm going through a rebuild, you ain't got no players, Lieutenant Dan. There's no way you'd have a cool stack and a pile of dust around it. Let's move on to the next one because we're sitting at 8 more trades in the queue. We've been going for 2 hours, 15 minutes. I'm just going to start talking trades so that we can get through as many, but we probably won't hit 3 hours on the stream tonight. Hebrew Hammer. Here's the trade. It shows up on your screen. I've got some notes following up this trade. If you're on Twitch and YouTube, there's their team. Here's the team of the Hebrew Hammer. 10-team Superflex, start 10, half-point tight end premium, full point for tight ends. Or excuse me, half-point PPR, full point for tight end premium. The notes here say they have the 103. They're going to get Tyson. I see them having the 103. They're looking for Jordan Tyson. I like that. Also, this is part of a 4-user trade. The Shuck owner is getting, so you would be sending Brock Bowers and a 27 first for Michael Wilson and Tyler Shuck. No, I don't like this at all. For the roster here, do we want to send, even if you're bringing in Tyler Shuck, do we want to move on from Brock Purdy and send away Purdy? Like let's just cross stuff off here. 10-team Superflex. I'm not moving Purdy for Tyler Shuck, and I'm definitely not moving a first for Michael Wilson. This one's just a no shot. Having the 103 and getting Tyson, I don't care about the stack. I'm now seeing, now I'm reading the notes on the trade. The notes say at 103, they want to take Jordan Tyson. This would give them the Tyson Shuck stack, but it's such a horrible price. Any value that you get from having the Tyler Shuck, Jordan Tyson stack in this deal is just undone by how much you paid to get it. Dahl in the chat is saying bad trade. I'd say there's no shot I'm doing this deal. The follow-up that I'll put on there, because I don't like to, and my gut was feeling like I don't want to come down hard on people. This trade hasn't been made yet. Ask around. You'll get way more for Brock Purdy and a 27 first. And actually, H. White is saying, take the first out and then we can talk. Yeah. You don't need to even put, and Dahl is saying, I think Purdy alone would be fair. You guys are just now putting into words like the follow-up thoughts that I probably should have had. The way I described it of just, I'm not doing this one for one and I'm not doing that one for one. Would I do Purdy for Shuck and Michael Wilson? Personally, I don't think I even would. I don't like Michael Wilson that much. Would I do Purdy for Shuck and like the 110 in this year's draft? Which is a round where Michael Wilson is getting traded for? Possibly. But I don't. But let's move on to the next trade. There's a lot of other things you could be doing here. I would not be doing that trade. Am I sending AJ Brown for Kenyon Sadiq? It's a 12-team Superflex, start 9, half-point tight end premium, half-point per reception. This is just kind of similar to what we were just talking about. Hopefully we'll cover this in the right direction. So Sad Lion would be sending Kenyon Sadiq and bringing in AJ Brown. I'm taking AJ Brown. Oh, Brofucius, you sent AJ for Sadiq. Is this you? I think AJ, here's where I'm saying AJ Brown should get you much more than Kenyon Sadiq in a half-point tight end premium. Yes, I think so. The market that I've been seeing in, let's pull up the rest of, because that's what I think in a 1-for-1 deals. We haven't done this yet today, so let's point you guys to Brofucius. You have a full point tight end premium. This league says it has a half point tight end premium. Tight ends get a full point per reception. Because that is also true. In this league, tight ends get a half point per reception and a half point tight end premium on top. So full point, but we would call that a half point tight end premium. Are we on the same? Are we saying the same thing there in a different way? And I'll pull this up while you type that up. I'm 1 point for tight end, yes, but it's half point for the reception, half point for the premium. Okay, let's swap to this view. You're on the YouTube, so you can see this. AJ Brown, pick 55 in startups. And I don't know where Kenyon Sadiq is going to be in here. I'm expecting him to be notably past pick 55, but I might just be wrong. Yeah, pick 85. So giving some wiggle room for different scoring. Half point per reception, half point tight end premium is a pretty common scoring. This is, oh, and I didn't introduce this site. This is Dynasty Data Lab. This is not my website, but what this is startup ADP. People starting their Dynasty leagues, how are they drafting? When we're seeing AJ Brown here at pick 55 and Kenyon Sadiq at pick 85, that backs up what I was saying originally when we pulled up the trade. AJ Brown should fetch more than just Kenyon Sadiq. It's not a league altering, team crushing trade, but this is one where the value is just on the AJ Brown side in a way that even if Kenyon Sadiq is my only tight end, I'm probably swapping him for AJ Brown, knowing that it's a value win and then I can go backfill tight end in a different way. Just going off of like market rates of pick 55 versus pick 85. Gianni Coley in All Love Dynasty. Did this one pop up? It did. It's a 10-team, 2-quarterback, start 13. For these deeper start 13s, I'm going to, for next Wednesday's show, we'll add in the starting lineup requirements. But on this deal, Devon Achane, a 27th third for Ken Walker and Tucker Kraft. This team has Achane. Am I moving Achane for Ken Walker and Tucker Kraft? I could. Though here's how I view this trade. There's plenty of times where I don't heavily value a 27 third. And I'd like to think of, if I'm trading two things, can I just trade them and come away with two things I feel way better about? I don't love Ken Walker as much as I don't like Ken Walker as much as I like HM, but I like Tucker Kraft way more than a third. Dahl is saying personally, give me the Walker side. And that's kind of where I'm feeling, where this feels like we're cleaning up that value. 27 third is often a miss. It's often a miss. But we're not throwing that value away in this trade. We're just saying, I'll take a small hit on Devon Achane to turn a 27 third into Tucker Kraft. Ken Walker's not that bad. I don't hate that. I'm not always searching out deals like this. And I don't know that every team needs to do a deal like this. If you have Devon Achane, you can just stick with them. You could take this 27 third and do something else with it. Some teams, you just have that 27 third and you just wait and make the pick and see where we're at. I don't hate this deal. I think we've covered it. Well, we got Brofucius. Thanks. Can't believe you don't have more live viewers. I like your analysis. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've been doing Monday and Wednesday live shows for a couple months now. I think we've been hitting our flow in the last couple of weeks. I have not heard anyone, and let me know. I think we've nixed a lot of the issues with the site. I have not heard anyone say that they were seeing major issues with the site. So if you have, let me know, because I'm going to keep digging into them. We deployed a change today that I think fixed a lot of things, and I'm hoping that was the final nail in the coffin for some of the bugs that we've seen with the site loading. So if you guys have had any issues, let me know. This trade, H. White, Sunday Kings, 12-team Superflex, start 10, full point per reception, 0.75 tight end premium. That's a beefy teep. That's a beefy teep. Ryan Andres in the TikTok chat with a trade question. We're taking our trades through our website, Ryan Andres. So Alec Pierce for the 203 and so on, we only pull them from the site. So like these graphics here, they're not pre-made. These are live getting pulled from our website. After you enter in your trade, we just have a queue, and that's how we're getting those graphics for the TikTok. The way that we get the team, the league scoring, and then on Twitch and on YouTube, it also shows the, I'm going to point. It's kind of odd to be on TikTok pointing at something that shows up on a different feed. I guess I shouldn't even point. On Twitch and on YouTube, we can just see the roster of the team who submitted this trade, and we don't get any of that from reading from chat. So we've got this trade here: Lamar Jackson and Michael Wilson for Baker Mayfield, Scatabo, and Tootin. The notes here say just made this trade and got the Lamar side. How'd I do? Let's take a look. I'm taking a look at their team. What'd they move? They moved 2 running backs and a quarterback. I say that so that as I look at their team, they're good at running back. Is the value here okay? They don't need these running backs. Is the value okay? Baker Mayfield and, I mean, if we cross off Wilson and Tootin, here's something I like to do on these trades, or trading in general. If I can find a 1-for-1 thing and cross it off on each side, Wilson for Bashal Tootin, you might like one guy more, and these guys might only be sort of close in value. But if we do that, does the rest of the trade start to show a more clear answer? Scatabo and Mayfield for Jackson, I think I'm just taking, I think this is the Lamar Jackson side. So if we're saying Mayfield and Scatabo and we like the Jackson side more, H. White, you're saying it's an up tier, and then Tootin for Wilson is kind of a value cross off. I don't really love Mike Wilson. I don't really love Bashal Tootin, but the values are generally pretty similar on them. And if I can flip Michael Wilson for something else after this, I like the Lamar side. Looking at your team, we don't need these running backs. That's not the way that I always evaluate things, but we look at these trades in a vacuum, and then we look at these trades for your team. You got Jeremiah Love, you got Bucky Irving, you have Javonte Williams, you have Chuba Hubbard as a 4th option. Aaron Jones might get a start for you this year in flex or somewhere else. You're just taking a bunch of this value you had with Scatabo and Tootin. Maybe we get a value rise out of Scatabo. Maybe we get a value rise out of Tootin. We will call that out as well and say we have cut some of our upside, but we're also getting just production into our lineup. And for some teams, that's what we want. And for this team, that's what I'd want. So I like the Lamar side. I don't love Mike Wilson, but we can move him, pair Mike Wilson with a pick and come away with a receiver we like more, things like that. We've been going for 2.5 hours. We got Icy Ike 17. The trade is up on the screen. I said that because it rhymes. It's Roma Dunze and a 27 first for Rashee Rice and a 2nd. Okay. The notes here say I now have 4 firsts. My wide receiver depth is set for years to come with a 99% guarantee I'm getting Smith at the 101. We'll use some of these picks on draft day or pre-draft to get top tier running backs to contend. Okay. Icy Ike. Doesn't show any league. Yeah, you guys aren't seeing any league here. Ryan Andres, is there a way to do a team review? Yeah, is there one? Ryan, I need to add a sound. Is there a team review in the queue? Ryan, there's a way to do there's a way to do a team review. I don't see any in the queue. Let's take a look at this. Take a look at this trade. For ones that, okay, we need to add in. Oh, I've been making notes of things to add in. This is for Icy Ike 17. They added some notes, but for some reason there's no league. There's no team here. Do I like this deal? Rashee Rice and a second for Odunze and a first. In a vacuum, sure. Sure. I like Rashee Rice. I like both sides. Actually, would I do this with the Odunze side? If I had the Odunze side, I don't think I would send Odunze in a first for Rice in a second. So I'm going to call this like even, but say that I guess I would take the, I'm clicking on my screen to find where to submit this one. Here we go. I'd close the window on my screen for this one because it doesn't show any rosters. I'm not sure what's going on with this league, so I'll take a look at it. I'm probably staying with the Odunze side. They have a bunch of firsts. They think they're getting the 101. I can't see their team to tell. Okay, let's go through this. Ryan Andre said, we got Dahl submitted a trade. Dahl was taking the Rice side. I like the upside of Rice. But if I'm down tiering and looking for firsts, I could understand that one. I couldn't see, there's no team. Something's going on. And we've hit like hundreds of trades without having stuff like that pop up very often. So I'm not sure what that is. Do I see one from, I don't know exactly which sleeper name ties to Dahl. I think we're going to get through them. Let's quick hit this demo because someone just asked about a team review. Ryan Andres for a team review. Yeah, there's a way to do a team review. It's on our website. Let's go to this page and let's clear this out. That should, okay, clear out. If you want to submit your team for review, we'll hit the demo right now. Here is our website. I just have to delete the account that I use for demoing the account creation. Here we go. Here's our website, Ryan Andres. It does show up on the TikTok feed down here where you had asked that question. Is there a way to do a team review? Yes, there is. You come to our website, boombustfantasy.com. It's the same as our YouTube name, the same as our TikTok name. On Twitch, it's boombustjack because we also stream games there, not just fantasy football. And on TikTok, we have a gaming TikTok and a gaming fantasy. On Twitch, we just have one. But you go to our website, boombustfantasy.com, you just make your account. For Shiloh Brax, would you trade 2 seconds for Parker Washington? You can submit it through the site. Here's how you make your account. You come to boombustfantasy.com, you hit get started. I'm using Google Chrome. I'm logged in with my Gmail. If you want to make your account, you can just do that with your Gmail. It's as easy as continue with Google, and the account is created. From there, you just type in your sleeper username. There's mine. It's my full name. It pulls, this just live pulled all my leagues from sleeper.com using their API. And when you're using the site, it wants to show you your team. It wants to show you your league. So you have to pick one at the start. You can change it easily at any time. So I'll pick Boombust 8. We did a bunch of startups last off season. We did 9 of them. I'll pick Boombust 8 to start with as my first one. And then on our site, you can connect to our Discord. If you're watching on Twitch, you can scroll down and join our Discord. If you're on TikTok, you can do in any browser, tinyurl.com/boomdiscord to join our Discord. If you want to submit your questions to our Discord, you can just connect to it. And then from our team, we're going to skip that for the demo. For our trade advice, like we were talking about, you can type in your trade. If you want to know if you should send Josh Allen for Jaden Daniels, that's the example I type out. You can post it to our Discord. Here's the click for that. It is free to do that. It'll send your trade question to our Discord as a poll with a link back to your team. So you don't have to type out, I have 5 first-round picks on Roma Dunze and a bucket of, I don't know, and these running backs, and I'm contending. It just sends a link to your actual league page where we can see all the rosters in your league. We can see your team. We can see your scoring. We can see your picks. And it posts in the Discord. It makes it way easier to get that answered. You can also put that into our queue for our live show where we go over them with Request Expert Review. We do that with a trade credit system. If you want to do a team review, Ryan Andres, you can go to team advice and then it will use the team that you have selected up here. And you can hit request team review with a team review credit and that adds it to the queue. And I think we just saw GAHXGCG. I don't know how to say it, but he says he sent in a team review. So we'll jump to that. I'm going to update the queue that I have here. Yeah, Carlos. Let's take a look. Let's take a look for Carlos. This is our team review. I will open this up. Here is what we're gonna do. I'm putting this into a browser for the show so we can take a look. We are going to go through your team in the Sunday Stress League. We've got it pulled up here. Here's what you're looking at. We've got Carlos's team here, which was their sleeper username. Started it up a few weeks back, a bit nervous on my receivers. Let's take a look. Here's what we do. We go through your roster with your league's scoring settings, and we give each position a rating. I go 0 through 4. 4 stars, but you can have 0 stars. I think we had a team in a trade question that came up that only had like Ollie Gordon at running back. That would be a 0-star running back room. We're going to go through this position by position. We'll give each position a rating. And then we'll talk about, hey, what are we seeing for this team? Are you contending this year? Are we recommending a retooling year? And we'll give you a 3-year outlook. Contending, rebuilding, for example, based on the roster you have, the strength of your league, and so on. And then we'll look at some potential trades you could make, and then we'll give you just some general marching orders for the next couple years. We also follow all this up with an email that will link back to this video with a timestamp so you can check this out again. And then we also produce some of the trade ideas. I'll go a bit more in depth and a bit more concrete on the email, and that'll come out tomorrow. I will have to go in and type that up. That's not automated, but it'll give you a web page you can view. That part's automated with a snapshot of the team as it exists right now. We just started the review. It just took a snapshot of it. I'm going to write down a timestamp so that we can put this in the YouTube description. It will be as a chapter on the video. What are we looking at? 2:38. And now we'll get started. You'll come to this timestamp right now, and it will be the beginning. It's a 12-team, 1 quarterback. Start 9. PPR, no tight end premium league. Quarterbacks, you've got Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, Ty Simpson. This is feeling like a week 4, like really good. 4 is the top. It's not the best 4. It's not Josh Allen and Ty Simpson and Tyler Shuck. That might get you to a strong 4. But Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, Ty Simpson, pretty good. We're looking at good production this year with Caleb. We're looking at upside, tradability with Caleb. I like bounce back in value from Kyler Murray, who could be a starter in this league. 12-team, 1 quarterback. When Kyler's healthy, he's been a top 12 quarterback. And then Ty Simpson is future value rising, tradable value in the future. I'm feeling good here. Running backs, Genty, Hampton, and then not much behind that. Chuba Hubbard as possible 3rd option for you this year. We might look to backfill a couple running backs. This is feeling like a weaker 4. If we got 2 studs, Genty and Hampton. When I say weaker 4 as for the first 2 positions, we're doing really good here. We're doing really well here. We're doing really well here. But the 3rd running back, there's not a ton of depth behind this. There's room to improve it. We got a follow from Matt. Thank you, Matt. Wide receivers, like you were saying. Okay, I'm seeing some of the stress that you're having here. Zay Flowers, Alec Pierce, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, Elijah Surratt, Zachariah Branch, Jack Besh, Hurst for Tampa. Okay. Whew. 2? 2? It's not a 0. Is it a 1? Like a 1 or a 2? Let's break it down though. Here's where I'm getting here. You had a feeling with the rest of your team. Is this the deal breaker for this roster? Where are we at? 12 teams start 9. I'm gonna pencil in a 2, and we'll see where actually I'm gonna pencil in a 1. I'm gonna pencil in a 1 here. And I think we'll start to make some of this clear as we go through. Tight ends, we've got Colson, Loveland, Chigakonkwo. I like it as a 3. My gut is saying 3. For something to be a 4, we'd want like Bowers and Kelsey. Really good production for this year with a great second option who's fading in Kelsey. What we're looking at here is like maybe the poor man's version of that. Maybe Colson Loveland has a great breakout, but it hasn't fully hit for a year yet. Dahl says, how long will this take? I might send him one in sooner. I'm heading to sleep if it's too long. We'll be back on Monday doing more of them, Dahl. So if you hit anything, we'll be live again Monday, 7:30 Central Time. I'm out of town this weekend. Otherwise, we would open up a third show. I'm also starting to brain fart as we're getting older. And then Thomas, I selected the wrong team in my trade review. Is there a way to cancel it? Thomas, hit up the Discord. If you're on TikTok, go to tiny URL. I mean, do you have Discord, Thomas, where we can open up one of the things that here's my thoughts, Thomas. Yes, we can change it. Can I do it right now for you? No. Is it easy for me to change it? Not yet. I'm going to, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, build out tools for easily changing this stuff for users. Join the Discord. There should be I think it'll say like boom bust support. You're the only person who's had any issues today. Just say you want to change your team in there, and then I'll connect with you after the show and we'll change it. And let's see where we're at. So where were we on these wide receivers? Let's just reset on this because I wrote down a 1, and tight end, we put a 3. We're not feeling great on the wide receivers. Let's look at the production for the team. So as we have these, what we've got here on the site for the Sunday Stress League, it's called our lineup power graph, which is showing, hey, here's an expected weekly scoring for your league based on your league's settings. So 12 teams start 9. It looks 1 quarterback. We're looking at 19 points a week at quarterback. You can break it down by each position. That 1 quarterback is probably Caleb Williams. And then it puts together projected scoring for other positions. You're in the playoff hunt. So when we're saying, hey, these wide receivers are weak, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. When we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams make the playoffs. Now, we always give the disclaimer here. Being at 6 here does not mean you're getting in at the 6th seed. The fun of fantasy football is we don't know what's going to happen. A player of Malik Neighbors' tier is probably going to get hurt this year. A player as good as Joe Burrow will probably get hurt this year, just like it happened last year. So things will shake up. Things will shake up. Ray J saying it's almost fantasy time. Brother, it's Dynasty. It's always fantasy time. It's always fantasy time. Zay Flowers and Alec Pierce, can they be great? And I think what we said we were going to do is like we'll count through these positions and get a gauge of why we're feeling this is a weak, like wide receiver as a 1 rating. Because if we count out your starting lineup, we're starting 1 quarterback, Caleb Williams. We're starting Genty, Hampton, possibly Hubbard or Corum as a starter. And we're at 4 starters on the way to 9. Colston Loveland is for sure starting. So we're at 5. And then we need 4 players from your wide receivers and the rest of your running backs or your tight ends. There's no tight end premium. So we're looking at Flowers, Pierce, Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins gets us to 9. Like that's 2 guys we do not feel great about. You have a lot of maybes. We might at this time next year say that, oh man, Parker Washington hit, Jaden Higgins hit, and Elijah Surratt and Zachariah Branch and Jack Besh didn't. But we feel okay. Like you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybes. But you need week 1, you need players. We can't have 6 maybes and try to guess who the guy is in week 1. So what can we do? What can we do? Because I think you have enough stuff here. We're looking at the dynasty value of your team. You're 5th. fourth in terms of, or a sixth in terms of production, but you have some things you can move. You have value. Can we move a second round? Like, can we move a second round pick for Devontae Adams in that range? Like, what would he cost? It's harder to make a trade like this coming out of a startup, but can we just get a veteran who we know is going to produce at wide receiver, or who we feel very strongly is going to produce at wide receiver, just to get you some more solid points? Because your team is really good everywhere except you need a wide receiver. So if you can't move a future pick for one, can we down tier from Genty to another running back is where we might look to pull some value out if we're trying to contend this year. So can we move a running back for wide receiver? Can we move? That's if we want to commit to contending this year. Otherwise, it's kind of just like hoping that we get a hit on a wide receiver and then contending. So some moves that I might look to make would be, we can down tier from a running back. We have two really good young running backs. We don't need to have two great options. We could get good production from one of these guys and down tier. You could grab an older guy like Saquon for one of these and then pull a wide receiver out of a deal like that. So that would be like Hampton down tiering to Saquon, but then getting a pretty solid wide receiver option. So I don't want to just spitball trades here. We'll put more concrete trades in the email, and then it'll also be a link to a page on the site where you'll just be able to check it anytime. But like, that's a trade option for you. You could do a similar down tier with Caleb Williams to a different quarterback and get wide receiver production. Like, you could down tier from Caleb to Dak Prescott, who's going to give you a pretty good one quarterback league production, and he's really cheap, and just go from Caleb to Dak and get another wide receiver on top. Other things you could do would be, if people like Jaden Higgins, if people like Parker Washington, Elijah Surratt, combine two of those to get to a different wide receiver that we feel more confident about. Because like, we counted it out as 6 maybes. Can we turn 3 of those maybes into 1 yes? Because that's kind of what our team needs. We need one more piece that we feel a little more confident about. So we'll follow that up with a bit more trades. If we're looking at other options here, like, what do we have in terms of lineup? If we're looking at teams in our league that are not trying to contend as much this year, maybe we're looking at Ryan's team here. Although maybe he hasn't gone for any future firsts. Do we have a team that is like pivoted for future firsts? I love CDs. No one's really. Has anyone picked up extra future draft picks? No one's really made any moves. It's just kind of coming out of the strength of your guys' startup. Play around in the market. Looks like you acquired Blake Corum in a deal for Kenneth Gainwell. I think that's fine. I'd be looking to move some of these Blake Corum tier, Chuba Hubbard tier, Elijah Surratt tier. All of these like could be something. Yeah, I'm seeing your message here. Who could the wide receiver potentially be if I downgrade Genty? It's going to be tough to. I'll go through each of these teams and I'll give you a bunch of options of things to send out. But it's going to be tough because coming out of a startup, everybody likes their team. They just all picked these guys. So the follow-up advice here is, the person that wins their league is usually the one driving the trade conversations. So play around with trade calculators, looking at 1-for-2s. 1-for-2s. You're pulling out the pen and paper now. You don't have to pull out the pen and paper. I'll send you a bunch of options. Typically with these, I can usually just click on the last team here or find a team that has pivoted towards future firsts already. What you could do is, here's what I realistically would do. And I'm going to I'm writing this down as well. Put your 27 first on the market. You don't have to trade it, but just say in the league chat, hey, I want to move my 27 first. Who's interested? Because coming out of a startup, it's tough to know who isn't trying to contend unless someone has started moving for firsts. So just put yours out there. You don't even have to sell your future first. You just want to know who wants future firsts, who's looking at their team and saying they don't want to contend. You're thinking of Genty in a first for maybe Kyron in London. Yeah. I don't know on that specific trade, but that's the type of things that we're looking for. But get a gauge of like, hey, who isn't looking to contend this year? Because I haven't seen anybody in this league. They all just have, nobody's moved any future picks during your guys' startup. I don't know if you guys had pick trading on during your startup for future picks, but see what people want to do there. Get a gauge of who's looking to pivot towards the future. Otherwise, play a couple weeks of the league. We might get to, it's okay. It's one of the reasons that we say that we look at the chart here and say we don't know what the future is going to bring. One of these guys could just be fine. Surratt could be fine. Zachariah Branch could have a role and fill points for you. Jack Besh could be renewed in value in Vegas as the top receiver for the Raiders. Like, some of these guys might just come out of the woods for you. You do have a big pile of maybes, but sometimes maybes become yes. So maybe we're playing a couple weeks of the league and seeing where things lie. So I'll check your email tomorrow. We'll send out the link to the page that's just going to have this team review on there, and it'll have some more trade ideas on here along the same path of what you've already been talking about. Genty in a first for maybe Kyron in London. We'll look at options of like involving down tiering from Genty, down tiering from Hampton, down tiering from Caleb, down tiering from Colston, sending out future picks in those down tiers, and so on. With that one, though, we'll wrap it. We'll refresh to see if any team reviews had come through. I think we had seen something in, nope, nothing came through in the chat. Let's hit a couple of these trades. We'll go for the 3 hours. We'll have 8 more minutes. I'm just going to start pulling up trades and we'll go through them. We've got Grover, great name. And Grant in the chat. Would I trade Ken Walker for the 104 straight up? We are taking all our trade questions through our site because it allows us to show the entire team, like on our YouTube and Twitch feeds, we can see the entire team of the person who has submitted this trade so that we can grade trades in a vacuum and we can grade them for the team that they have. Carlos saying, thank you again. I'm going to join the Discord soon. Yeah, it's free to join the Discord. There's a lot of helpers in there as well. In this deal, are we sending Marvin Harrison for the 27 first and the 202? It's a 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 8. This team is acquiring Marv. They would send the 202 and acquire Marv with a 27 first. If it was 12-team super flex, I would say no, we're paying too much. We're starting to hit the border of, depending on this league's scoring, we're starting to hit the range of like, but the scoring settings of this league are mattering here. Because if it's a deeper league, I think you get Marv for just a first. But because it's just a 1 quarterback league and there's more upside in Marv, that would make him more valuable. But is it the 202 valuable? I think we might be able to just get a better first or a better player with this 27 first and the 202. Crayon Eaters looks like they're coming out of a rebuild. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 future firsts, 4 future seconds. You might just get a better player moving them. That would be my guess. Where I'd say, like, we're paying the full price for Marv. If it hits, like, okay, there's room for this to be a win, but I think you can get more for a first in the 202. To the point where I'd say, like, really shop around. All right, is it Don or Dong? I'm not sure on your name, and I do want to apologize, but yours is the next one in the queue. Carlos, so just to double check, you may send some potential trade ideas afterward. It's not a may. So tomorrow you'll get an email from me, Carlos, with a link back to your team snapshot and so on with concrete trade ideas tomorrow. So we gave some like more vague trade concepts today, and then we'll just solidify them tomorrow. And it won't be through the Discord. You'll get an email with a link on the site that has them on there with a recap of what we were talking about in text. All right, DLY, the big man draft. It's an 8-team, 1 quarterback, start 7. Are we sending Pickens a first and a second for Justin Jefferson? Yes. Yes. This is a 27 projected late first, which is really like pick 6, 7, 8 in an 8-team league. So it's a good first round pick. A second round pick on top. Actually, which side of this is DLY? You have Pickens. You might be able to get a little more back with Justin Jefferson here. Or make this second to third or something like that. Because the league is 8-team, 1 quarterback, start 7. If Jefferson goes back to what he had been doing, it's a win on the Jefferson side. It's just some risk of, do they get back to it? Here's my thought process, because I think as I say things should become more clear. If Jefferson gets back to a quarterback at the tier of Sam Darnold, it's probably a win on the Jefferson side. We didn't see that last year. JJ McCarthy was way worse. But as long as Kyler Murray can do what Darnold did, when Darnold was the starter for the Vikings, Justin Jefferson should be a top 5 wide receiver. And in a league where it's an 8-team start 7, what's the math? What's 8 times 7? I don't know. But it's very shallow. So we want these great options. And I don't know that I feel as great about the future of George Pickens. So I'm going to lean the Jefferson side here and then say it's also possible that we have seen a very high upside from George Pickens. So with these players, or with this package, Pickens a first and a second, could you get up to a higher tier player than Justin Jefferson? Or get something back with Justin Jefferson? I'm going to say that I could see the Jefferson side winning it, but you might be able to get a little bit something back with it. And it's really based on the scoring that we are going with Jefferson there. Because the shallower one, you just want the top. If you can get a top 3 receiver, that holds a lot more value in a start 6 in a league where only 60 players or so are starting. Check in the queue. Check in the queue. Here we go. On to the next one. This is going to be the final one because we are at 2 hours, 58 minutes on the stream, and I need to pack for a vacation and then go to bed. So we'll be back on Monday for the ones in the queue. This last one is Dynasty from La Royce. Oh, I do see the messages coming in from like Just B. Would I trade away Luther Burden and Tyler Bourne for Justin Jefferson? We take all our questions through the site, boombustfantasy.com. I see you're on YouTube, so the trade queue will be scrolling up here for you. There's the name of the website as it scrolls on by. That is where we take our trade questions. We don't pull them from the chat because that is how we show, if you're watching on YouTube, that's how we pull up the roster of the person who sent in their trade. We've got this one from Leroyce, 12-team, 1 quarterback, 6-point passing touchdown, start 9, half-point PPR. There's no tight end premium. They have added in their notes that says, I currently have no 27 picks and 128 third. We can see it. You don't have to type that in. Shows up right here. Boing. If you're on TikTok, there's just not enough room on the screen, but on YouTube and on Twitch, we can see their picks. In this deal, are we sending to JSN down tier? Are we sending JSN and Cortland Sutton for AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Ramondre Stevenson, a 27 first, and a 27 early third? Okay, we're going to start with my general thought. If I'm trading JSN away, and here we're adding in Cortland Sutton on here, but just in general, if you're trading away the stud piece of the league in a one quarterback league, it's Jamar Chase, it's JSN, it's Puka as the most valuable pieces in the league. Maybe you want to throw Gibbs and Bijan up there. I want two. I don't want to split it more than two. So JSN for I want to go JSN for Jefferson and a first, or JSN for a receiver and a first. And then if I can't, and then when I'm doing that trade, I want to improve. So let's talk through this. Let's make sure I don't ramble. I want to say this as clearly as I can. If I'm trading JSN, I want to trade away JSN, and I want to get a great receiver and a first. I don't want a second. I want a first. And if I want to make that receiver that I get better, I'll include someone like Cortland Sutton to boost the value on my side. So when we're looking at a package like this, does the other side fit that rule of what I'm looking for? Not really. Not really. Caleb says, I like that trade, or do I not know ball? You can like it how you like it. Do I like this down tier? Just on value of like counting out firsts. In a one quarterback league, JSN is going to hold even more value than in a two quarterback league. So I want 4 first round picks for him. Am I getting that? With AJ Brown as 1, Jalen Waddle gets you to 2, a 27 first, that's a first. So that gets you to 3. And then Ramondre and a third, is that 4? No. And then I have Cortland Sutton on the other side. I see that this person, La Royce, wants 27 first. They don't have any future picks. I think that's part of why they're thinking about this deal. I don't think we're getting enough for JSN. Even if you believe like JSN might take a step back, the market doesn't feel that way. I think you should be getting more for JSN here. So I'm staying on that side. Because and with this deal, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, we're looking at 2 value, unlikely to be 2 value risers out of that. AJ Brown this year, through the years, probably just loses value no matter what he does scoring. And Jalen Waddle, unless he's a top 12 guy, probably just dips value on age. The first round pick goes up, but Ramondre in a third, not really doing that much for me there. That's the final one that we'll get to because we have crossed 3 hours on the stream. We will be back Monday night as we need to. It seems like the past couple times we have not closed out the queues. So we're going to start looking at, as we go forward, if we need to add more time onto these at the start of the night. So rather than starting at 7:30, which is when we will be back on Monday, 7:30 Central Time, we'll be back. And then depending on the queue, we might have to start at 6:30. We might have to go longer. We might have to add in a third show, but we'll take that with what the audience wants. What time do you guys want to watch stuff? And so on. Thank you for hanging with us through this time. We are going to close this out and I'm going to go to bed, I think. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you to everyone who submitted a team review. Again, expect an email to come through tomorrow with more final, we'll finalize our thoughts. We'll send a recap on there, a link to a recap on the site, and then the video link as well with a timestamp chapter in there. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one. We'll see you in the videos that we have on YouTube. Check those out, or we'll be back on Monday. Take care, guys. I'm clicking go offline, and I'm just done with the rambling. See you. That one's offline. This one's offline.